Hi, everyone. It's Heidi, and we're back for a wonderful afternoon live stream, like a tea. We're having a tea with my good friend Mark Henderson, who is my very special guest. Here he is, everyone. Anyway, I was doing something a little bit different today, Mark. This is the first time Mark and I have gotten together. We've had lots of chats and conversations, and we just thought it would be a really great time to invite him on. Mark, before we get going into everything, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
I always start in this moment and go backwards because as soon as you said, now we're live, I just thought of Cindy Brady when she had TV-itis and she couldn't speak. Do you remember this?
Of course, I love the Brady Bunch. I love it. No, Mark, this is his first time doing a YouTube video, like a live stream. So he's a little bit nervous, but I assured him that we have a lovely, welcoming audience that will be here, and he will be in very, very good company. And we're just going to have a great conversation. We're going to chat, and we're going to talk about all kinds of costumey things. So, how are you feeling, Mark?
Great. It's not just nerves. I have a background in stand-up comedy, so I'm kind of looking for someone to, like an audience response, and thinking, oh, I got to do this without that, but trust that it's out there.
Exactly. I know it's sort of weird because the only way we get response from people is in the chat by their comments. So yeah, so Ian Tron says, we are very nice. We make noise, but we don't bite. Hi, Intron, and Nicholas here and Stephanie Frederick so far. We've got some people popping in. So Mark, if you are feeling comfortable, it doesn't have to be long. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm costume obsessed, and I always have been. You know, some people are born and they can just draw, and some people are born and they can play the piano. And I really feel like I was born with a talent. I know I'm talented. I remember sitting in my home as a kid and looking at the drapes, and a neighbor had said something about my mother's taste and said, those drapes have got to be changed. And I thought, well, there's my out. So I pulled them down, took them off to my bedroom, and whatever I'd watched the night before would come down the stairs the next morning. Every day of my life. You know, I would watch something and it was never about the movie. It was about the costumes. And I am obsessed. I say I'm a model and an actor. I have absolutely no sense of fashion. And people will invite me to their homes and say, if we invite you for dinner, what would you wear?
I have to say about Mark is underselling himself because I was telling, I don't know who I've said this to. Okay, there are some people who can wear their clothes really well, and there are some people who cannot wear clothes at all. I don't know what it is about them. I don't know if it's their body shape or just the way they stand or carry themselves, but Mark is the first one. I swear to God, Mark, you could put like a burlap sack on you and you would look great and you would make it work. You know what I mean? So I think you're honestly selling yourself short. Maybe you're not always selecting the outfits that you're wearing, but whatever you wear, like today, he's wearing this beautiful powder pink, like vintage tuxedo shirt, right? Is that what you're wearing?
Yeah.
With ruffles. See, like someone else could,
vintage in Kensington.
Yeah, I know. So someone else could put that on and it would really look goofy on them, but it doesn't on you. You always look, you just carry yourself so well. And I also want to mention that we have, Mark and I are both in Toronto. I'm in Scarborough. He's in Toronto. And that Mark he's kind of a bit of a local celebrity here. He's been featured in some style magazines. Mark, I don't know if you want to mention that. Most recently, it was at Toronto Life you were featured in?
Yeah, and I got the front page of the fashion style section in the Toronto Star, which was kind of freaky. Have you ever been in the paper?
I have, but just in a very, very small way.
What happens is they don't tell you. You just go through the hallway and then people have in front of their door paper and there's your picture.
You're kidding.
The day of, no one will call you when your picture's on the front page of the style section. No one's going to call you. They're all going to look at that and think, oh, they're really busy today. I'll lay off. So you're the last person. The conversations happen. I remember the first time I was in the paper and it was a big layout and no one called. And then about a year later, my friend William said, oh, the phones were on fire that day. And I said, they were? And he said, oh, yeah, we called each other. So no one called me. So no, we're not going to call you.
Yeah, because they figure you're going to be busy and people are going to be calling like crazy, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say, so one thing that happened to Mark during the pandemic is tell us about your TikTok channel. Like, when did you decide to start that?
Well, as you can see, I live in a pink and gold boudoir style apartment. I love my place. If you're going to have to be locked up, in fact, it's hard for me to like come out of isolation because it's addictive, right? And TikTok had just kind of come along. I was here. I had all of these costumes, and Maya Angelou has a saying like, "There's nothing worse than having something inside of yourself that can't find its voice. That's a pain." And I had this pain, and then a friend of mine, she had gone out dancing on a lake up north, and she became this TikTok sort of sensation. For her dances, because these fishermen were taking photos of her and laughing at her, and she was able to find all this footage and put it out there. So I thought, I'm sitting here in my apartment having tea with my beautiful gowns, my beautiful costumes, my fur wraps, and I thought, I'm going to have tea with the world. So I just started having live feed teas with, Anya playing in the background, or the soundtrack from the Titanic, and I would just have these mad teas, and it literally took me about 8 days to get the following I've got.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mark's got like 70,000 followers, I believe, right? A little bit more than that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And one of the things that Mark does, we're going to show some pictures, is he actually creates a lot of the outfits that he wears. Actually, how you and I sort of were introduced, I don't know if you remember this, but originally you sent me pictures of yourself as Dracula.
Yes.
As Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think that was the first time I was introduced to you. And then you had emailed me about Crimson Peak.
Yeah.
And that you had enjoyed that video. And, to this day, I have to say, well, first of all, it's one of my favorite movies. But also, it's actually one of my favorite videos that I've ever done. And people still watch it, which says something about the design of that movie, right?
Which Crimson Peak?
Crimson Peak, yeah.
Yeah.
It's if anybody doesn't know, it's a Guillermo del Toro movie starring who are the stars of it again? You'll have to help me that.
You're on your own there.
I'm on my own there. Anyway, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. Loki. It'll come to me. It was funny because I think it was Monday we did a webinar. Yeah, Asun says she loved Crimson Peak. Oh, Asun, help me out with who stars in that, please. We did a video on Monday about House of the Dragon, and I couldn't remember the name of one of the characters, and I was just having so someone commented about it the other day. Thank you, Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Handsome Tom Hiddleston, like young still, like he was still sort of up and coming. He wasn't Loki yet, I don't believe. And so I couldn't remember this name. It was Jorah Mormont. I was trying to remember the name of the character and I couldn't remember. So I had two things going against me. One, I am middle-aged, and two, I was drinking. I'm not drinking now. So yes, and Mia was a Kauska. Anyway, just gorgeous design. So that's sort of how Mark and I got chatting.
And note to everyone, it's a really violent movie.
It is violent. Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like a gothic noir, like there's a mystery.
Yeah.
And it's a ghost story. And Charlie Hunnam is in it as well. Yes. It's a great cast. So anyway, so that's sort of how we got to talking.
Well, the Dracula one was really vital because I was on a mission to recreate the red cape by Iyoko.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to recreate that, but I wanted to be like point specific. And there was a lot of geometry. So you think just making a cape and a train that wraps around an individual is very easy. It's actually really not. The fewer seams you have, the harder it is to get something to fall right. And I went totally down the rabbit hole, and then that's how I found you. And I was and somehow it popped up in that video, I think, that you were in Toronto. Maybe it was Crimson Peak because you talked about the locations, but that was fascinating. I met her in Los Angeles. My friend, he said she goes to my gym, and it's like, oh my God, I don't go to that gym. I would love to talk to her. It's like she goes for coffee every day before the gym at the Starbucks next door.
Oh, so, who, Eiko?
Yeah.
You're
So
kidding.
I sat there, and the first day she walked in, she was pretty guarded, and he
Yeah.
told me, don't expect her to be really friendly. She's an incredibly busy person and focused, and you know, but she actually was really nice, and I sat with her. She was fine with that, and she didn't have long. But I asked her, I said, when you won your Oscar, did Coppola call you? And she said, I think I called him. And she said, I think I saw him that night. She said it was a blur. And then I said, did you hear from everybody else? And she said, I heard from no one. And I thought that was really
You've got to be kidding me.
I said, when a movie wins an Oscar, don't you all get together and have a ring that bell party? And she's like, you'd think so, but no.
It's sort of like what you were just saying about nobody called you when you're when you were on the front of the paper.
Yeah.
Plastic Pussy, by the way, says, love the Carol Burnett, Norma Desmond thumbnail. I'm so glad you know who that was, because I showed it to my husband. I showed it to Jack, my husband, and he, like you, like me, we all grew up watching Carol Burnett.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't know who it was. And then so yesterday we watched one of we watched one of the skits. It is hilarious. It was so funny. It was one where a young writer comes and maybe I think she did more than one. She must have done more than one with Max, right?
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Jerry says, hello, Heidi and Mark. I would like to thank Heidi for her work on this channel. Because of you, more people will realize just how fascinating wardrobe in movies can be. Oh, what a lovely thing to say. Thank you so much. Angel, that's okay. Angel says, sorry, I didn't say hi to everyone. Asun was saying that Kate Hawley is the costume designer from Crimson Peak. And then Mark was just telling me about how he had this wonderful experience of meeting Eiko Ishioka, who was the costume designer on Crimson Peak, on Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. And Mark, you remember a couple of weeks ago, I was doing an interview with Jeff Churchill regarding the footwear.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we had a lot of technical problems. So anyways, but one of the things he told me is that he worked with her on Snow White. And he did the footwear that Armie Hammer wears as Prince Charming, and that she was really amazing to work with. And one of the things that was the most amazing experiences that he had is he said during the fitting with Armie, she was kind of like, oh, that's not exactly what I was imagining with the boots. But she says, but you know what? I kind of like what you did there. That's kind of interesting. And he says one of the most amazing experiences he had was sitting on the floor with her as they were sort of piecing and taping the footwear together. He said it was just like probably one of the most amazing days he'd ever had in his life. So such cool stories that people have about her now that she's passed on, eh?
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mark. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, okay, so what we thought we would do before we get into some of the topics, we're going to be here for a few hours, everyone, have a nice, good, lengthy chat. And hopefully this will be the first of more times that Mark comes on here. I'm just going to show you guys some of the pictures that he sent me, just showing you some of the things that he's done over the years, which is so cool. Like one of the things about you, Mark, is you're such a, how do I put it? Like you're sort of a multifaceted person, like multi-talented, like I was saying to Jack, extremely photogenic. Like you have to be one of the most photogenic people I've ever seen, because I have never seen you take a bad picture. Do you think that's a fair statement to make about you? Do you feel that you're pretty photogenic?
Yeah, I weaponize it. Like at Christmas, I make teaspoons with bad photos of family members. I get their bad photos on t-shirts. And I just laugh saying, go ahead, if you can find a bad photo of me, run it.
Yeah. And also the thing that cracks me up, not cracks me up, but I'm just like in awe of, is the fact that people do fan art of you, which like, how cool is that you get fan art?
I met someone the other day and she started crying as she was walking towards me on the street. And I said, like, is everything all right? And she's like, I got into art college because of you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's the thing about Mark, like, you're in your hood, you're walking around, like, you're not just like, you're not like, housed up in your apartment in your beautiful Marie Antoinette style home. You're out and about and doing things too. And
It's
sometimes in costume.
always in costume. I feel like everything's a costume. I don't have a fashion sense. I really don't. And I just, to me, Oscar Wilde used to say that the mask reveals the man. If I start telling you how rich I am and I start talking about yachts and caviar and flying on the Concorde, right away that mask tells you how common I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just, and the fact that I go out into Canada and the fashion industry, so like they're over me and I'm over them. I never really did get them, but I go out and everybody looks like a boy. And I was walking by a family last summer, and I had a sort of a period in my life where everything I wanted to wear was a farthingale with with panniers and the taffeta skirt. And as I walked towards this family, they were all dressed in their Blue Jays hat and Blue Jays t-shirt and jeans and running shoes. And the mother said to me, "What the hell is this?" And I said, no, I will take it from all of them, but not you." And she looked a little surprised. And I said to the kids, "Get your cameras, get your cameras." And they started taking photos of her and I together. And she said, "What's going on?" And I said, "You're dressed like a boy and I'm dressed like a girl. I'll take it from them, but I won't take it from you because you're wearing men's clothes." And she looked down at herself and she looked at me and she started to laugh. And she said, "You know what? You're right."
Yeah, no, that's interesting, eh? Anyways, okay. So why don't we, because I want to show some of these beautiful farthingales. So should I just start putting stuff up and you can just sort of tell us a little bit about it?
Sure.
Okay, here's the first one. Amazing photography on this, by the way.
Yeah, that's us, John Tex, and did that. And that's the center guy is Jack Foley, and the other is my friend James Jenkinson. And we go see each other at auditions all the time. I just went up to them and said, "Can we just all get together and do a shoot at my place?" And fortunately they were agreeable, and off we went.
Yeah. Now, did you pin your beard up here, or was it shorter at the time?
It was shorter at the time, I think.
Mm-hmm. And what was the inspiration for this?
First, I wanted to link up with them because I thought if I put a paper trail with my enemies, and I would always do this as a kid. My mom would always say to me, "Mark, you're not good looking enough or like athletic enough for the guys you're hanging around with." I would always pal out with guys, hoping that whatever they had would rub off on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was me just doing this as an adult, and they got the joke. I approached several other people to be in this shot, and they had absolutely no sense of humor, or they had a lot of fear. And we had a hell of a good time. And it took us about 45 minutes for this shot, and it's epic.
Oh, it is. I love it. I love black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's this one. Here's one of your 18th
Madame
century.
de Pompadour.
What is it?
Madame de Pompadour.
Madame de Pompadour. It's a bit peekaboo too. You've got you're bare chested.
Yeah, and I guess the old peekaboo thing was to see my feet.
Yes. Yeah, I like the color combinations you've done here too. You've done a bit like of a shot taffeta kind of tone on tone, like two-tone sort of underskirt there. I love that.
The trim on that dress I got off YouTube, and it would involve triangular stitching. So you would do triangles and pull, triangles and pull. It was really neat.
Now this is like pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I didn't know that was you, where is this setting? Is this Casa Loma?
U of T.
Oh, it's U of T. Okay.
Yeah, and I as a kid, the flying monkeys terrified me, and
yeah,
I like doing this guy at Pride. I'm planning on getting him back out this year at Pride as well, because I'll just sort of go up on the side of a building and go on a window ledge and just sort of hang out and give people something to look up and see, like, "Oh my God, look at that." Because those monkeys were terrifying.
Yeah, it's funny. My husband said the same thing. He was terrified by the monkeys, but I was terrified by the witch. Like I saw The Wizard of Oz when I was 5 and I cried. I was so scared of her.
Yeah.
But my husband said the same thing. It was the monkeys that scared him. Oh, sorry. So we're kind of in the shot on this one. Again, this is sort of like a sepia tone though.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Mark loves is long trains.
Yeah.
What do you want to say about this picture? I'm gonna go over here so I can.
That's a damask piece of fabric that was given to me, and it's 50 feet long. And all I did was cut a half circle for my neck and lined it. And it's a Pride Day wonder. I went down the street. I was about half a block long, and I looked, and a little drag queen had joined me and decided to guard the back of my dress.
Wow.
And we couldn't communicate. It was too far. It was too loud. That was fun. But
you've shot this you've shot this in your apartment.
Yeah, this is.
You're actually sitting in the same sort of point of view.
Yeah.
Right now.
I am. Yeah.
Okay, so there's this dark mark.
And see, whenever I do stuff, and I've done some television interviews about unpleasant topics in my life, and I always really, really max out on my beard, because I know a year from now they're not going to remember what I said, but they're going to remember the beard. And so that's always my hook.
Absolutely. What was going on with your inspiration for this, though?
Just I think the like fashion and costuming is always politics, right? And hoodies are downtown, or anyone wearing a hoodie, you watch over your back. It just sort of is. Sometimes they're crack addicts, you know what I mean? And I just sort of wanted to do a whole shoot where I was just not making any statements, that whole Greta Garbo thing. I'll just shoot blank and let the viewer project onto it. So,
yeah, see, my projection onto this is that you look like you could be at a Lord of the Rings. More fantasy. That's where I would go with that, maybe because of my own perception. You guys in the chat can tell us what you think about these, by the way. Okay, so when Mark and I first met, this is one of the pictures he sent to me. Was his, you've done 2 attempts at this, I believe, right? This is your first attempt?
Yeah, this is really the first one. And I used a really cheap fabric, which I realized as I wore it, can't be done. I had to spend the money.
Yeah, and then you've recently redone the costume, and I don't think we have the pictures of it here. But so this is how Mark and I kind of got introduced. He sent me some of these pictures that he had done as Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula. I just want to see what people are commenting here, by the way.
Yeah. There's a real skill to wearing a train that long, like how you turn and to not get it wound up. And
so Angel Lover says it's all drag. I don't know. Do you mean it's a drag or it's all drag?
The legend for the word drag is that it was Shakespeare would write in the corner or the edge of the paper, "dress as girl." That's where that comes from.
Oh, okay, really? And then hi, Cindy. Cindy says I'm late. No, you're not late. You're just in time. Asen says, "Oh, I love it." Cindy says, "Wow, this is brilliant." Stephanie says, "Oh, me too." Angel says, "I was sort of scared of the Lollipop Guild. They look like they could really beat someone up." That's true. It's kind of true, right?
Yeah.
Mother Royne says, "Hello, nerds." Now, Mark, would you call yourself a nerd, though?
There's something definitely different about me from other people. And I know when I'm saying this, I'm saying it to people who have this affliction as well.
Yeah.
That the costuming it's just something I notice. And I'll even forgive a really bad movie if the costumes are something interesting. Like
absolutely, yeah.
And when I go out, it's never just to grab a sweater and go get some milk. There's always something to what I'm doing, even if it's in my own fantasy world.
Okay, here's one. This is really excellent. So it's sort of your 18th century. Now, who's this little doggy?
I'm the king of Pride, and I have been for about 25 years.
Okay.
So every year, do you know how you become king of Pride?
No.
You just put on a crown and crazy outfit and get drunk enough to go around telling everyone you're the king of Pride.
So it's not like you've been given the, they haven't asked you to do it. You just sort of are self-anointed. I
usurped it.
You usurped it. Okay. So, well, you look like a king here, an 18th century king.
Some friends of mine said, will you look after our dog? And it was Pride Week. And I said, okay. They said, but the condition is the dog does not go out to Pride. I'm like, I promise, I swear to God. And as soon as they left, that dog and I were out on the street because I knew it would get me, like, do a scene with a dog or a kid during Pride.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you were carrying him. He's pretty little, I guess. Maybe they were worried he would get trampled. Maybe that's what, because he's pretty tiny. What kind of dog is that?
I think they bought it thinking it was a Chihuahua, but it turned out to be like a Jack Russell. It was
That's hilarious.
It was a
I like. He's so cute. Okay, here's another one of you.
Yeah, and this was a photography student made me her thesis, and so this is somebody who hasn't really taken a lot of photographs. And
I don't know. I think it's pretty good. What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, she's great. We've done other stuff since.
I love this costume. It feels medieval. What's sort of going on here for you?
I can't really even remember. I've done a lot of these. Jack Skellington is her name on.
Oh, no way! That's cool.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
And she's really cool, and she was with a band in Toronto, so she's got a lot of old Canadian rock and roll connections. She partied with the Stones. She was like really kind of a neat lady who at this point in her life decided to study photography. And so we got together and did this. And this was one of the things I took. And I think it's just a chunk of lace that I made into a kind of a cowl and pulled it out of the bag. And like when we play out with others who are like us, we don't need to, like as we run towards rob the bank, we don't have to decide which one's going to shoot who. We kind of know. You know? Yeah,
the thing I love about this is the textures. There's so many textures going on, and I think that like that. What's on your shoulder there? I love that. Is that the lace as well?
Yeah, it was the whole cowl with a shoulder.
Yeah. Piece. And I love how I don't know what that background is, but it feels medieval. Like you feel like a medieval monk or something to me.
I think the background really looked nothing like that. It's just her lighting and knowing how to use her photography equipment was amazing.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I've added a shimmery red. I don't know. I just felt that was appropriate. Maybe I should have done pink, but
great.
I was just sort of thinking in terms of Carol Burnett and just, I don't know. I thought it would be nice to have it be very sparkly. Now this is okay. So this is a close up of your Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know, I guess this is what is this character called? It's when he's at the castle and he welcomes Keanu Reeves. I think they call him Old Dracula.
Count Dracula. Yeah.
Count Dracula. Yeah. And how did you do your hair? Did you have a wig?
I bought 2 wigs and I fiddled with it for as long as I could. And I've always really wanted to commission. There's a wig maker in town, and I would love. He's done the Tetley Tea commercials currently. I would love to get him to make me a good version of this, but this is good enough. And then I took a piece of lace front and put it really low on my brow so I could have the wig sit back, and then it's got a long braid. And in the photos, it's a very cheap fabric. It's a very cheap, the embroidery here is just paper and hot glue and fake fingernails I got at the dollar store. In the new version, I've done all this up in a nice taffeta with actual embroidery, and I put some real work into it. This character speaks to me. Like
absolutely, yeah.
Like I just love that movie.
That's interesting you should say that because there's this other cosplayer that I have had on the show, and she's a good friend. Her name's Kristen. And she has said that to me as well about certain characters. She'll say, this character speaks to me. And I always think that that's really interesting.
I think that movie spoke to our times as well. There's this scene where where Dracula and Winona Ryder are in bed, and she's begging him to infect her so she can go with him. And this movie came out at the height of AIDS and HIV, when you would find out somebody you were dating had AIDS and HIV. And this rang a whole different note with the LGBT community than it did with, say, another community. Like it was a very, this movie's still ahead of its time, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely love it. It was one of the first, videos I think I did on this channel. It's funny because I'll get people still commenting on it, and it's always usually very favorable because anybody who loves that movie loves it. I've rarely ever had anybody say this movie sucks. I don't think any, you get the odd Keanu Reeves comment or whatever,
Yeah.
but to this day, I still get people commenting on it and saying, "Thank you for doing this video. I really love this movie." And I think it is. It's one of those things. And I think, Mark, you know this about me, that a lot of time when I want to put a lot of time into a video, it's because I'm also a huge fan. Like I love it. Like I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and soon she's here. She knows that I do. And so this is why we do it, because we love it, right? Let me go back to Mark's pictures here. So I have this one. This is a more recent one, I think, of yours.
It is.
Is this okay? Tell us about, it's funny because there was something, I was at the Met Gala or at the Oscars. I was noticing a lot of women having these flowers on their trains. Did you notice that?
Yeah. It's after Rihanna came out in that yellow dress. A couple of years ago, there was a Chinese silk and yellow fur. Trains are the limit. So I just had, again, for me, what I do is I get the fabric, like at Valley Village for $1. And then I go home and think, now, what am I going to do with this? And then I build the scene and get the photographer, and people climb on board, and off we went. We shot all day in this. It was really kind of neat. I've actually worn this out with a red suit that I have, and it was a great big do for Pride over at Hard House. So the room was huge, and I knew I could walk in and fill up sort of a portion. And I like being an event. I like playing with the crowd. I think a lot of people leave their house looking for something to look at, and I leave my house looking to be something they can look at.
That's so awesome. I love that.
I commit to the bit, which makes it fun. If the person wearing the outfit is self-conscious, it blows.
Yeah. It's funny. Just as I'm looking at this more, at first, is it organza?
Yeah.
When I first looked at it, I thought it was PVC, like a clear PVC.
Yeah, things photograph really differently than they look in person.
It's really interesting. And now, did you have to dye your beard or put a color in it?
No, it might just be the way it's come out.
Oh, because it looks like it's like a lavender here.
Maybe I did. I can't remember.
Maybe a bit of a tint. Anyway, I love it.
On my resume, I always put hair negotiable.
Yeah. Now, how long did it take you to make that?
I can't remember. But I enjoy making stuff. As soon as I make it, wear and shoot it, I'm done. I'm out. It can go.
Speaking of that, where do you put all of your outfits? I know you had a big sale recently, though, right?
I just sold a lot of stuff off.
Yeah.
And, I have a downtown place, and so I have the kitchens full of boxes and shelves and racks, and, every now and then I just have to purge and say goodbye. And once I've photographed it and I feel I've done it, it's done me its job. For the $1 I spent at Valley Village, I don't mind passing it on.
Yeah, that's exactly, Angela. She says it sort of looks like what Dexter uses to keep the blood off the walls. Yeah, like shower curtains, like clear PVC shower curtains. That's so funny. Angel said, I read recently that Bram Stoker's Dracula was written as a reaction to Oscar Wilde's trial, that Dracula is supposed to be like a closeted gay man. Not sure how true that is. That's very fascinating. Have you heard that before?
I think when you're in the world of a vampire, male, female, past and present, live or dead, all the lines are blurred. So that they did a good job. It's the funny thing is, gender's been a thing for a long time. We think it's sort of the new topic of discussion, but it really isn't. You look at Dietrich in the 30s when she started appearing in her tuxedos, and Katharine Hepburn would have people refuse to allow her in restaurants in the 30s and 40s because she wore pants. This has been coming for a long time. The French have a really wonderful saying that tells my experience with this. They say an actress is somehow more than just a woman, and an actor is somehow less than a man. And
Wow.
so with that, as I play with gender lines in fabrics and costumes and having a train and furs and all kinds of stuff, um, when women are very kooky with their fashion, they're usually seen as someone whose vanity is attractive. When men do it, the vanity is seen as a weakness.
That's very, very fascinating. You know, it's Mark. I know you haven't seen this show, but I recently did a review of a show called Severance, which is supposed to be like an office culture. It's kind of like Office Space, or sorry, the Office, but kind of like gone completely like mental,
Yeah.
like just off the charts. And one of the first things I noticed about it, because it's supposed to be like it's a very ordered type of office, is that everybody's gendered in the show. And I thought that was a very strange, disturbing kind of feeling in 2022. That's what I was saying, from a 2022 point of view, to watch all the women wearing blouses and skirts and pantyhose and heels, and all of the men to be wearing like dress shirts and suits and ties. It felt very uncomfortable. And I think that they did that on purpose. And it was funny because I shouted at the costume designer on Instagram, and she watched it and she said, "Oh, it was really enjoyable. She enjoyed my review." So, but she didn't comment on it. So I don't know. I even said in the review, you know what? I'm just sort of like riffing off of what I think, right? Because she did no interviews, which made it even more mysterious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was so, because, I'm working from home. Like, I don't work in an office. And the only thing that I've observed recently is that people are wearing socks with their shoes, which I thought was kind of weird because your feet would get sweaty, but oh, well, go at it kind of thing. But, the idea that in this day and age that all women would be wearing skirts and all men would be wearing suits was sort of like an IBM type thing. And so nowadays it just seems kind of like stupid.
Well,
what do you think of that idea?
I have a fascination with people, and I've been around and I've seen a lot of stuff. And one of the things I've seen is I dated somebody once, and he had pictures of Barbra Streisand everywhere, and every album she'd have, even though it was the same songs with a different album cover, he'd buy it. And one day he opened up a closet, and out of the closet slid a pair of leather chaps and a leather hat and a leather riding crop. And I said to him, whoa, 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 wait, you got this all wrong. You should be hiding the Barbra Streisand and get the chaps out and lay them over the couch. And, like, I think
that's so funny that his chaps fell out of the closet. I know. Oh my God.
I think 99% of the people in this world have a secret double life in their head. And I used to have a grandfather who would ride the train, and he would have in his jackets handguns from the 18th century. And he would ride into Toronto, do his business, and ride back. He had the secret fantasy life that he was living. I think everyone's got an item. Either they have it in the closet and think, where will I ever wear it? But they keep it. Or they have it in their mind. This is what I want. And I just go that one step further. I always wanted that Dracula cape, and I would not rest until I finished it. I've yet to shoot in it. I haven't shot very well. I have a couple of photos in the new one.
Yeah, no, because I haven't seen it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
So I'm trying to set that up. If any photographer
can I tell you about my secret fantasy one?
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay, so my
the listeners, what are your secret fantasies?
Well, my dad. Okay, I don't know if I ever told you this, but my dad, he went to the symphony, and Christopher Plummer was at the symphony. And if anybody doesn't know who Christopher Plummer is, he's from The Sound of Music. Anyway, so Christopher Plummer was narrating at the symphony, and he had on this beautiful smoking jacket. So my dad loved the smoking jacket. So he went to Harry Rosen, who's a tailor in Toronto, and he said to him, "Listen, I'd really like to get that Christopher Plummer jacket. Is there any way you could hook me up?" So he said, "Well, I know Christopher Plummer's tailor. He lives in England. Let me call him." So he called the tailor in England, and Christopher Plummer's tailor said, "Oh, I know the jacket you're talking about. I'll order the fabric and I'll send it to you." So my dad had a reproduction of the jacket made, and then he got the same, like, it was like gray tuxedo pants. And that became my dad's sort of like nice dress outfit that he would wear. And it was burgundy velvet with like a shawl collar and like matching cuffs. And anyway, so before my dad passed away, he said, he told me he wasn't going to leave me anything before he died. And I said, okay, that's fine. But I want that tuxedo jacket. I want that smoking jacket. He goes, okay, I'll leave you that. Fine. So then when my dad passed away, the first thing I said is, can I have that smoking jacket? And the person who has the possession of the jacket said, no, I don't want to give it to you. So I said, well, this is the arrangement that I made with dad, that he would give me the smoking jacket. And then they said, well, what are you going to do with it? And I said, well, I'm going to get it tailored to fit me and I'm going to wear it like all the time. And so anyway, so at the moment, it sounds like I'm not getting it. So what I said is, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to go and I'm going to get it made for myself. Anyway, I'll just do it myself. So that was my fantasy outfit. Mark, what do you think of that?
But that's not just a fantasy outfit. That's also an emotional fantasy.
An emotional. Mm-hmm. You're right.
That's what a lot of these things are. You know.
Yeah. So what do you think about the idea though, that I would just, okay, I'm not going to get the one that I wanted, but I might just go and have it made. He wore it to my sister's wedding, for instance. Or, you know.
The one is the one.
I know. I was just angry and I was like, fine, I'll just go get it made. But I really want the original, you know.
I have a friend who tried to ask somebody to marry him and she wouldn't let him. And I just said to him, dude, she's not the one.
Yeah.
She's not the one.
So you think that's not the outfit?
No, I think the knockoff is kind of just going to make it.
Okay. You know what? That's sound advice. I really appreciate it. I think I was emotionally upset about it. And so I said, fine, I'll just go get my own, like I'm an independent woman. I can just go have my own jacket made. But like you say, it's got emotional attachment to it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So before that was just my fantasy outfit. And then you can think about what maybe your fantasy is while we're going through more pictures. What about this one? Is this a fantasy outfit?
No. I get a lot of flack about these shots, but I'm fully covered. This is a Lycra bodysuit with laser printed muscles.
No. I got that. Yes.
Yeah, but just other people watching,
But even if it wasn't, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
Well, you can see there's a seam, right?
Well, you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell me about this a bit? This has got a huge long cape as well.
This is a 50-foot long cape, and we took it to a ravine near downtown Toronto. I had to get a bunch of girls to help lay it out and drag it, and the damper it got, we're near a river and it was early in the morning and it got really heavy. It was really hot. My beard was hot. It was a lot of work, but the photos turned out really great. And it just, to me, it just says, it looks like Puck or Shakespeare or, it's got all that.
Yeah, I have a question. So the stocking you're wearing, do they cover your feet as well?
No.
Okay, well, where does it end? I can't see it. At the ankles?
Just under the knee, I think.
Oh, okay, because it's very good. Like you can't see that.
I was lucky that it was a good tone match.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of like that your beard is kind of like wilting a little bit. It really suits it, I think.
Yeah.
Like you don't have those beautiful ringlets that you normally do.
Yeah. I think it did that day.
Yeah, it's humid or whatever. And especially in the woods. It's a beautiful, and I love the contrast of the green and the brown and the wood. Looks like a weirwood tree from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
What about this one? This is very cool.
Is
this a corset?
Yeah, it is.
Love it.
This is a photo by Franklin Lowe. So in Hong Kong, he's their Andy Leibovitz. Like he's very well renowned. You really want to shoot with him. In Toronto, he can't seem to kind of get, I often wonder if Toronto's like probably the most racist, judgmental, blighting city there is. I have friends that move to Montreal and say, my life's totally different here. What's wrong with Toronto? But this photographer is just wonderful. And I wanted to do something that was very, I wanted to wear one of my taffeta things that I made with a corset, but I wanted it to look serious. I wanted it to be like, how Wallace Simpson always looked really sober in those Chiropelli gowns. I wanted it to look like that. I didn't
Yeah.
want anyone to look at this and laugh. I wanted to look at it and go, oh.
By the way, everyone's commending all the photography, and also people have suggested that I steal the jacket. I don't know how I would steal it though. She won't let me in the house. So,
Yeah.
and obviously, if she's watching this, so things will be really uncomfortable.
Well,
But
I also believe that what we're doing here, it's going to live a long time, and we're
Mhm.
doing it not just to talk to each other in front of a bunch of other people, but someone's going to watch this in a couple of years, and they're just going to be going through a hell of a bad time, and this is a safe place for them to come and listen to just some fun. And
yeah,
you let this jacket go, and trust that there are forces on the other side that work for us.
mhm.
Things change. Joan Rivers used to say this: you can turn things around. And I really believe that. If I hadn't had her voice in my head many days, I wouldn't have turned them around. And things can change a lot.
I agree. It was funny. I was, as I put this very sexy picture of you, I had a week like that. I think it was a lot, maybe last week. It started off really, really terribly. And then by Friday, I'm like, how is it possible? Monday can be this way, and then Friday can be amazing. It's so strange how life is, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing is, yeah, never, we don't, when it hurts, don't stop.
Mhm.
Keep going. We must keep going forward. Always forward. We must keep going. And if people forget that and they think, well, I just watched this neat video and they said I should go forward. What they forget is they can contact either one of us and we'll repeat it again. Like, this is
It's
how we
true.
live our lives.
Yeah.
Staying alive isn't easy. It's a daily chore.
It is. Yeah, it's much more work than you think. By the way, I was going to say though, except for marriage, if you find that marriage is a ton of work, it's probably not the right person. I was going to say that. It shouldn't be a ton of work. It should be sort of easy. I was just going to say,
Yeah.
because after celebrating my anniversary, my 17th anniversary,
Yeah,
which
congratulations.
I turned to Jack and I said, "Can you believe I've been married for 17 years? Where did that time go?" But I was just going to say, for the most part, it's been really easy. And when you have somebody who's easy in your life, it makes your life so much easier. It makes everything so much nicer. Just to say that.
Yeah.
But Mark, tell me about this beautiful, sparkly outfit you have here, and you have a great look on your face here too. You look happy.
Yeah. So this is another divine find from Exile in Kensington.
Oh, I love Exile.
Vintage, and it's probably a lady's blouse.
Mhm.
But my friend, Gus, he imitates Michael Jackson, so he often has to buy a lot of women's jackets, and then he has to kind of fix them or buy them big enough and cut them back. This one just fit perfectly, except for the sleeve length. And this was a photographer who she does wedding photographs now, and Carly Davidson, I think, and she did this shot, and I just decided to throw on a whole bunch of glam, and it was just fun,
Is it stretchy, or is it just
No,
sort of? It's not stretchy. Okay.
Not at all. Not
Yeah.
at
Is it from the 70s? Do you think?
all.
Or
I'd probably
80s?
say 80s.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. It's got that. See, the great thing about stretch is, if you remember the old Batman TV series
Mhm.
with Yvonne Craig as Batgirl and Eartha Kitt and as Catwoman, those girls, I give them a lot of credit because we didn't have stretch fabric in those days. Those are tailored, cut outfits. And who else was Julie Christie and
Oh yeah,
Newmar? What was her name?
Julie
But-
Newmar.
Really, all these girls that were in that Batman, that was a big show for me as a kid with costumes.
Mhm.
That was before stretch. I remember being on the street with my friend Gary Fleischman, and a guy rode by us on a 10-speed wearing Lycra pants. And we both were like, we couldn't believe it, like just stunned. I remember, I think one of us said, "Are we allowed to wear that?"
Yeah.
That was when, that had to be the 80s. And that's when I think Olivia Newton-John brought Lycra in after Grease.
Oh yeah. And she actually went to the opening like wearing a pair of Lycra pants as well.
Yeah.
And sort of that off the shoulder top, which It was funny because I just interviewed Angelina, and she's a costume designer, and she was working on that. They're doing a remount of Grease, like they're doing a prequel TV show in Grease. So she's the costume designer on that, and we were having such a great time talking about it because she says like you can really see the '80s influence in the original Grease. So there was definitely that sort of like the candy shoes and stuff like that, like the lot. But I have to say, I adore it. I adore that sort of hybrid of 1950s and 1980s together.
Yeah. Now she wore satin pants, but to market those to people, because the next day we all ran out and had to have those pants.
Yeah.
To market them to the general population, they couldn't do satin. That's when Lycra had just come along. So those two things happened at once. Do you know the background story behind it, Grease?
No.
Okay, the first run of the show before it got to Broadway, when they cut it, they workshopped it. In the original version of Grease, Sandy and Danny are dead.
Oh, you're kidding? They're angels?
Yeah, and so the whole time of them being in school, and then when the car flies away at the end of the movie, is them going on because they've completed what they needed to complete.
Oh, that's why they have the whole teen angel and all that kind of thing then.
Yeah.
Is it because I did see the musical, which is different, but it didn't have, so that's the original sort of idea behind it.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense because I always wondered about that, why they were flying off. And
that it was one of those weird things they kind of kept in and kind of dropped and kind of, I don't know what the homage was, but it was great.
I have another picture of you here. You showed me this one before. You want to explain? I love this so much.
An actor completed all but the most important line of the film, and he refused to come back.
Yeah.
And so the gal that was directing contacted me, and she said, what do I do? And I said, what's he look like? And so within hours, I looked like him. Mm-hmm. And I said to her, I'll do it, but I will do it on one condition, that he doesn't get a credit. Just drop him.
Yeah.
Like, don't give him credit for that movie. Like, just delete him. And she didn't. I didn't say that I had to be put in, and I don't think she did actually. But she just needed one line done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you have to trim your beard here?
I think what I did was I braided it in little braids and rolled it under, and then I colored it with temporary color and then a wig.
Yeah. Oh, so Alicia. Oh, hey, Alicia. She's here. She says, "Wait, holy shit, that theory is true."
Alicia, I'm here for entertainment purposes only. I'm not running for mayor, so just take me at face value.
Angel over wants to know what they died of. Do you know that?
They drowned.
Oh, they drowned when they were at the beach.
Yes.
Oh, so cool.
I know, right?
Wow. Okay, Mark, do you know that I used to have a Grease club?
What?
Do you know I used to have a Grease club? Like when I was 10, I had a Star Wars club, I had a Grease club. And we used to meet, we had a friend who had a garage and they had an attic, and that was where we would have our meetings for the Grease club.
I've never seen
I'm not even joking. I'm not making that up. It's totally true.
I've never seen Star Wars.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold that against you.
I was Planet of the Apes and I wouldn't change.
Yeah. Well, you love Planet of the Apes as much as I do, so I'll forgive you for not watching Star Wars.
But before we get too far away, I'll give you the key to understanding Young Frankenstein. You know Frau Brucke?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know why the horse is whinny?
Why?
Because Brucke is Yiddish for glue.
Oh, right? No. Oh my God. How do you know all this stuff? Are you really big on trivia?
I just love movies. I love what's behind this. And I don't know anything about today's movies. I like what I think Hollywood was,
Wow, this is so cool. What you guys, we're getting some very cool stories here.
Planet of the Apes. Let's go there for a sec.
The what?
Planet of the Apes. That's a movie where the costumes are A, fantastic, and B, completely insane.
Here's a picture.
That's me and my friend. We're handing out bananas on the.
Oh, this is actually you guys.
Yeah. My friend's behind me. He's a gorilla.
Oh my God! I thought this was actually from the movie.
No. That's me. And we are handing out bananas on the Scarborough Rapid Transit.
Yeah.
And nobody would take our bananas. They thought it was very offensive, I guess. But
No, because you know why I thought it was from the movie? Because you remember, like in the original Planet of the Apes, they're with Richard or what's his name? Sorry,
Ronnie Mcdowell.
Roddy McDowell. But then later they're in the city. Do you remember Return of Planet of the Apes? So that's what I thought. I thought it was a scene from the subway in like New York.
Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, now Mark, I just did a video on Vikings, and I call them the Viking Bros have all come out. So I have to say, just a preamble, there are no real horns in Viking culture, but you have horns here.
Oh yeah.
This is so good. Are you wearing, like, is that like a big fur? Like, what is that?
It's a 17-foot long faux mink cloak.
Oh my God.
We filmed it in a cathedral downtown, the one beside St. Mike's.
Yep.
And they said, we're going to have an organist practicing his organ lessons during that time, so you won't be able to film it. That'll be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so gothic to shoot in that environment.
Now, did you do tattoos on your hands?
Those are all temporary from the dollar store, but they stayed on for like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I like that costume. I had 2 photographers book me for that, and I would get up and get ready, and they would cancel like half an hour before. So by the time I got, this is Ian Colonna and Rose, oh God, I'm going to forget her name. Ian Colonna and Rose, they shot it, and he's got a fashion background. The only thing I didn't like was that it was very dark. I really wanted to celebrate the Cape a bit more. But I
love that cape.
I'm going to do something with that and all the Vikings in town coming up.
When are the Vikings coming to town?
I'm going to gather them. Don't worry. Oh,
you are? Okay. It says, Mark is a plethora of great random movie facts. Costumeco, we need to see him on for a trivia game. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. So what Alicia's talking about is she does trivia night on another channel, and I was a guest on there. You should do it. It's so fun. We did one on costumes, so maybe you guys could come up with an idea.
Let's go. Let's do Planet of the Apes for some trivia.
Sure.
What happened that year was Robert Kennedy was assassinated. 20th Century Fox was in up to its eyeballs in both Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe cover-ups, conspiracies, all of that stuff. So everyone associated with Planet of the Apes was being paid off by 20th Century Fox to shut up. So Arthur Jacobs was a producer of Planet of the Apes, but he was a press guy who they say quieted Marilyn's death the evening she died, not the night. His wife Natalie Jacobs, or Natalie Trundy, she started 3 of the 8 movies. Don Murray, who was in Bus Stop with Marilyn. Planet of the Apes was a whole hush, just you all take this job. It's nothing. It's going to go nowhere. And then it turned into this poof thing. And what I love about the costumes is it covers the span of about 3,000 years and keeps going back in different times. And all the monkeys, the chimpanzees wear that green outfit, no matter what century it's in. Like it's just so random and so.
Yeah, I have it on my list of movies to do because I went back and I did been going back and slowly kind of redoing like Logan's Run. I did, for instance. I want to do 2001: A Space Odyssey, but Planet of the Apes. Yeah, but Planet of the Apes is one I've been always wanting to do, and I've seen, like, I went and I binged all the movies and all of the TV series, and I watched all of it, and it just got crazier. It got, like, as the series came out, it got crazier and crazier.
You expected Fonzie to jump a shark, literally.
Yeah. So, anyway, so by the way, everyone really.
I met Ronnie McDowell once.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. He was staying at the what's it called? Just at
the Royal York?
Bay and Wellesley, Sutton Place Hotel.
Oh, that's where all the celebrities stay, I think.
And I was again with Gary Fleischman, who is a dear man, but totally gorgeous and becoming a pilot. And so I went to the Sutton Place with Gary, telling him all about Ronnie McDowell and how he's this great star, friends with Elizabeth Taylor, and he's got everybody's secrets. And I called up to his room and he answered. And I said, oh my God, I'm like, me and my friend Tommy Holmes had a Planet of the Apes fan club, a Ronnie McDowell fan club handbook and all this stuff. So he said, hey, if you hang out, I will stop and say hello to you. So we parked ourselves in this little room, and off the elevator came Ronnie McDowell with a whole bunch of very elegant looking men. And they went straight to Gary Fleischman. And I was behind Gary Fleischman going, over here, you, not him. He doesn't even know who you are. And Ronnie McDowell put his hand out and he went to do one of these, like there, but I didn't know what he was doing. So I kind of rooted around and he put his thumb right in my mouth.
Oh, really?
Pulled his hand back and they all started screaming with laughter as they turned and walked away. And
wow.
I thought, oh, I'm going to, at the next Elizabeth Taylor dinner party, I'm going to be, what's the most embarrassing thing a fan ever had you do? And his will be stick my thumb right in his mouth. You know?
Wow. Yeah.
And ever since then, I can't watch them.
Oh, and you know, but I have to tell you though, Malcolm, I'm kind of like, I was a bit of a bigger Malcolm McDowell fan than I was a Roddy McDowell fan. If anybody in the audience knows what we're talking about, but I had actually, Cindy said, I remember when Planet of the Apes came out, I remember they said it was to shut up the Marilyn Kennedy stuff. And excuse me, South London reseller said, love the Planet of the Apes movies. So Alicia says if you say allegedly, they can't sue you. I don't think you can be sued for conspiracy theories, though. I think you can say a conspiracy theory, right, guys? Without anybody. Okay, let's go on. We have a few more costumes here.
They can sue me. All they're going to get is that white dress you're seeing.
Now, what made you decide to pair this 18th century gown with a cowboy hat?
Well, it's not really a cowboy hat. It was.
It's not?
I got it at the dollar store. It's one of those little fedoras.
Oh, it's a fedora. Sorry.
And I just themed it and made it really pointed. And I thought, it just seems stylish to me. I just go with what's inside.
No, you're right. Actually, because now that I'm thinking about it, women would wear like a Berger hat and they would be shaped sometimes. So no, that's beautiful. Did you do all these ruffles yourself?
I did. And again, it's that triangle pattern on the piping that goes up and down. I just love it.
Yeah.
And this, I also heavily used your video on Marie Antoinette, which I highly recommend. It's such a good look at that movie.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Well, it's funny. I don't know if you remember in the video, there's this woman I found. She's not doing it anymore, but she has this website, which I probably did put a link in the channel underneath it. So she has taken all of these movies and broken them down by photos. And then she has other people she talks to who say, like, for instance, she did Moulin Rouge. And so she had all these pictures of Moulin Rouge. And I said, hey, would I be able to use them? Like where they've gone in at the exhibits and they've taken pictures of everything in close up. And then she has other people she refers to. So I messaged her a while ago and I said, hey, like, I see that you're not really doing this anymore, but would you mind, like, if I gave you a credit, if you would mind if I would use it? So what she did is she took every like outfit that Marie Antoinette wore. And then from there, I just kind of went in and found photos of it. And then I did, and then I had to go find other photos as well, just to flesh it out a bit more. But I basically used her sort of reference as to do it. But it was so fun. That, Mark, though, that was probably the longest research I've ever done on a video. I think I joked that I spent an hour per outfit. So 70 hours I spent on that video.
Yeah. What's funny is she had such a big budget and such a good team. You compare it to Dangerous Liaison. You know, Dangerous Liaison had 23 days to get their costumes together.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? 23 days.
Did they rent them though?
No, they made them. They got they used sari.
Oh, they used sari silk. Yeah. Now I wonder if that was done. There's this atelier in Italy that makes a lot of costumes, like for that period. I wonder if they used them.
They did.
Was it made in America?
I can't remember.
England?
But I remember the costumer, and I've seen it somewhere where he just said, "I only had 23 days." And,
that's crazy.
And the one costume is the same dress Madonna wears in the VMA when she does the Vogue dress as Marie Antoinette. That's Glenn Close.
Oh, no way.
That's the opera dress. And
wow.
I love that movie for the costumes. Like, nowadays the main character is like a little too rapey for a lot of
Yeah.
people, but
Yeah.
that was the story of the time. It's a great movie for costumes. I think it's
Absolutely.
a masterpiece for costumes, actually.
Okay, so it's this one here. Got a few more to get through.
Oh
This
yeah,
is from a magazine spread that you did, I believe.
it is. So this photographer is a Ukrainian girl, and shout out to all the Ukrainian viewers.
Mhm.
I'm with you. Um,
Absolutely.
she hadn't really taken a lot of photos, and she came to my house, and she was one of the most beautiful girls I ever saw. And I promptly gave her proper heck for coming to a man's apartment on her own. And she's like, "No, I'm not scared. I'm Ukrainian." So she's a wonderful girl. I really love her. And we went out. She told me what her ideas were. And she wanted to do something about the environment and plastic and water. And she wanted to do it on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. So I got a hunk of rope and a couple of boxes of garbage bags from Canadian Tire, and I cut the garbage bags into long strips, tied them in knots to the rope, and I just kept going. It's about 3 strands, about 15 feet each. It fits in a huge garbage bag, and it's just nothing but plastic bags. And we went down to the Leslie Street Spit,
Mhm.
and which she and her boyfriend quite often went to, and they knew a spot, and we did this. And I love it. It's very, I almost feel like I'm a bird or a crow or
You know what? It's interesting. I don't know if anybody else in the chat thinks this, but because of the way the light is hitting it, it almost looks like seaweed
yeah,
or
yeah.
even fish, like maybe you're covered in fish. Have you?
I've worn it on Halloween out in
Yeah.
on Church Street, and have people stand in front of me saying, "What am I looking at? Like, what is
Mhm.
that?"
And it looks very long as well, because obviously it makes, and that's the other thing, it makes you look very tall, like almost like like supernatural a little bit.
Yeah, I think I do that on purpose. I try and make myself look very tall.
Yeah. And because you've got your hands in the air with gloves on and everything too.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what magazine did this end up in?
It's sitting right here. Number 8 out of Australia.
Oh, okay. It's not in a Canadian magazine.
No.
Oh, that's very cool. So she was able to sell it and have it
Yes.
published?
Yeah, it was great. I called her up and I said, "I need to speak to you, and it's very important. Can you come back?"
Mhm.
And she came back, and I presented her with a box in the magazine, and she'd never seen her stuff in print before. And here it was, and we had like, I think, 8 pages. And we did another one where she took me to the graffiti alley in Toronto.
Oh yeah, where Rick
dump-
Mercer goes.
There were dumpsters full of fish guts and from sushi shops. And she's like, "I want you to get in there." And I was in this beautiful white tan Burberry suit. I took off my shoes, went in barefoot, and we got and I'm sleeping on the
Wow.
garbage. Like, I was covered in bacteria at the end of
Oh
that.
my God. Wow.
You
But what about your suit? Like what happened to your suit?
You
were able to get it cleaned?
I think I just threw it in the laundry. Like, just
Oh, you did? Okay. It's one of those. Okay. By the way, I went out for brunch or lunch the other day, and there was a guy sitting in a dumpster outside the brunch place. And I said to the owner, "Oh, this is so typical Toronto. Just want to let you know, there's a guy in your dumpster." So I was with the kids, and just another normal day. Mark, I don't know if I told you this last year. The same place where we went, where the guy was in the dumpster, a guy was in a wheelchair and he was completely naked. And I said to him, and this woman was trying to get him some help. And I said, "Sir, excuse me, you can't just be out." It was a really hot day too. I said, you cannot just be out during the day like this without any clothes on." And he's like trying to explain it to me. I said, "I understand that, but you know what? You have to at least wear a pair of shorts or something. You just can't be exposing yourself. People aren't going to be cool with that." It was really, really funny. My kids were with me. And then I posted something about it on Facebook, and we're like, "Oh, Toronto." Oh my gosh. Okay, so we've just got a few more pictures to get through. This looks like a bit of an older one.
It is.
Yeah.
I really loved that Batgirl was
Yes.
such a slam against Batman in Adam West's mind
Mhm.
that they decided to make her Batgirl scooter ridiculous. So it's got lace and it's got bows and she's they completely tried to take Batgirl down, and I just loved that. So when I got an electric scooter, I thought it has to be the Batgirl scooter, and
Did you paint it then? Did you paint it that color?
Oh, I did everything.
Oh, you did amazing. You added the lace.
I did everything. Yeah, it was wonderful.
I love it.
I would ride by construction sites and they'd yell, Batman, and I'd yell, Batgirl, and they'd yell, Batgirl. Like, everyone was in on the joke with that.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, who doesn't love superheroes?
I like those ones. I'm not so much with the new ones, but that show was great for me. That was the first show I remember as a kid. And they were all primary colors, and it was just really neat. And the bad guy's place was on an angle, and loved.
By the way, there's a really great video that I watched a while ago explaining why superheroes have gotten darker over the years. Because I'm not on board with that. I like that bright, those bright colors. But there was some reason for it, and I think it had to do with money. It's cheaper to do CGI and everything when things are darker. Then it's much harder if it's really, really bright. So one of the controversies was Superman, because Superman got almost like blood red or dark red, and then and as gorgeous as Henry Cavill is in it, versus the Christopher Reeves beautiful bright blue and red, which is supposed to be the American colors, right?
Yeah.
So so it was really interesting. So in the end, it basically all had to do with money and saving the studio's money. So if anybody's wanting to know why that is,
when it comes to superheroes, I have two words.
Sure.
Linda Carter.
Oh yeah. You know what? Everybody
why
loved Linda Carter. My husband, all the guys I know loved Linda Carter. I mean, she's, even to this day, she's just stunningly gorgeous. And of course, me as an audience member, I had a Barbie doll. Do you remember those? They had a Linda Carter Barbie doll, and she would be dressed up in her Diana Prince. It was sort of like a World War II military outfit she wore, like she was like a secretary, right? Like in the military. And then underneath it, she'd have the painted on bodysuit and everything. So
she was such a knockout. The viewing audience didn't notice that the first year of that show happened in Nazi Germany, and the second year of that show happened in 1973.
Yeah, they did that sort of like now because again with the Gal Gadot, they kind of went back and did that. They went back to World War II again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I had the doll with her World War II military outfit. That's the one that I had. And I also, my friend had the $6 Million Man.
Oh yeah.
And you could look through its eye. And then we had Lindsay Wagner as well. And they were slightly bigger than your standard Barbie. Like, so a Barbie, I can't remember how tall they were, but these dolls, like there was a Cher, they were slightly bigger, some of these sort of dolls.
I'm not allowed to tell this story, so just keep it between us, okay?
Sure. And the people watching?
I was asked to speak at an AA meeting in LA, and I was like, I was very excited. And sometimes there would be, the occasional celebrities. And so I said to my friend Frankie, he said, you're about to go on, but just before you do it, I want to let you know, front row there and front row there, you've got Wonder Woman and the Bionic Woman in the front row.
Amazing.
Oh, man.
Wow. Sorry. Gal Gadot's was World War I. Yes. Sorry. It's my Canadian. Hi, OTDA is here.
They're fact checking us while we go.
They do. They always do. I'm bad because I can never remember people's names and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and if I don't have it in front of me, so that I appreciate. That's why I always say to them, guys, what was that one? All right. So this one,
stand-up comedy, but they're nice hecklers.
They are. They're very nice, and they're doing it to be helpful. They're not doing it to be mean. Yeah. Like I said, we have a very lovely group. So tell me about this. Oh, I just like this fabric.
Yeah.
Is amazing.
Yeah. I made this, and it's faux mink around the top. And then I don't know what you can see in this photo because my eyes are so bad, but I also put a lot of crystals on it. I not only had a good gold lame that was paisleyed, but I also added beads and rhinestones, and I really layered it. I wanted it to be Kate Smith was a big singer in the Second World War. You wouldn't remember her, but she had this one gold dress that was like this. And my grandmother, when I was a kid, saw her get wheeled out on stage wearing this gold dress yet again. And she said, "Oh, she's still wearing that gold dress." And when I saw this fabric, I remembered that Kate Smith moment. And it was like at the Oscars or the Grammys or something. And I just really wanted to have a rich robe, just a beautiful one I could put on, like almost like a Father Christmas sort of thing. And it instantly became a fave. I shot so much in it that I pretty much can't shoot in it now.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. That. By the way, where do you like? I know you say you buy stuff at Value Village and Thrift Town and that kind of thing. But where do you buy some of your fabrics? Do you go down on Queen Street, or do you have a favorite place you like to go?
I have a favorite place called Affordable Fabrics, and
okay, yeah, I know it.
They're pretty good. People think that when you walk in that store, they look at you and think if you're rich, the price is one thing and not another. But I totally love the guy that owns it. And,
I know. I've never had a problem with them at all. They're really nice.
Really wonderful.
Yeah.
I find that whole belt, even King Textiles.
Yeah.
I've been shopping there when the mother owned it. Now it's the son, and he's really wonderful. I can go in and say, "Look, here's what I got. What can we do?" Because I don't have a big budget for anything I'm doing, which I prefer. Because when I have a big budget, like it's harder actually to do. Necessity is the mother of my invention. This in the background you can see is my Pride costume because I'm the King of Pride. I want to be Xerxes from 300.
Oh, yes.
I'm having to order stuff online, and it's not my wheelhouse. I like actually doing what I need to do and being really careful and having it be precise. And some things haven't yet showed up that have to be built and put on this. And it's interesting, but it's a neat thing.
I love it. It's beautiful.
That's my 300. Behind it is my Diana dress I put up for you.
So are you wearing that to Pride?
The Diana?
Yeah, the Diana dress. Or is that's actually a Diana dress?
It's one of Diana's dresses.
You're freaking kidding me.
Yeah.
Where did you get that from?
Midnight Blue. I'm not going to mention the name of the auction,
okay.
But a dud auction happened a few years ago. And then after the fact, none of the bids that were at the top were actually legit. And they became widely available.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, that's amazing. Wow. I thought when you meant Diana, I thought you meant Diana Prince. You meant Princess Diana.
Yeah. And I have to confess something terrible. There's a model named Sierra Antowski, a model adventurer, I think, on Instagram. And she was here and we were filming, and I said, "I have a Diana dress." And she said, "Can I see it?" And so I showed her. You have to wear gloves and put it on a white blanket and all this stuff. And like, I want to pose in it. And I let her.
Yeah. But because you're talking about how because of this whole controversy we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not old. It's not fragile like the other, but like Marilyn's dress, right? We'll get to that in a minute. Did you get pictures of her in it or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I want to see them.
Okay.
Okay, so we just have a few left of Mark. Now, sorry, this one is also from Number 8 magazine. So that was that Australian magazine you were telling me about.
Me. I'm big down there. When I get off the plane in Australia, there's about 30 or 40 people with signs and.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm big in Saudi as well.
So, okay, you are wearing my favorite fabric here. Mark, do you know that ermine's my favorite?
Yeah.
So Mark's wearing ermine. It's faux ermine.
Yes.
So tell us about this. I love this crown because it kind of looks like a mitre, like a Pope style mitre hat.
I got it out for you because I thought you might bring this up. So
yes.
Here it is.
Oh, you have it.
I have it.
Oh my God.
What it is this part is the lid off a plastic roast chicken container.
That is so genius.
And I saw it and I thought that looks like a Pope hat or a Czar hat.
Yeah.
So I got it, and then I got as many rhinestones from the dollar store as I could because I thought a Russian would just soak the thing.
Yeah.
And I put rhinestones on in layers. Made of velvet mantle. That's a light bulb at the front with some rhinestones stuck on it.
It's so good.
That became a huge project. It's very difficult to wear. Like the Queen says, You can't move your head down.
Yeah, so you had to be you had to keep yourself steady.
Yeah, and I like the Tsar. I like that whole period
Yeah.
from a costume sense. It's unpopular now, so to all my Ukrainian friends that are watching, I'm not endorsing this, and this is another time in history. And
yeah, of course. Then we have, this is the one I used actually, and I love again because this is in your apartment, like you can see.
yeah,
It's your apartment. You've got pink. By the way, how did you find an apartment with so many windows? Like seriously, everyone would kill to have that.
You don't live in an abandoned ballroom?
No, I live in a townhome.
This outfit is from Exile in Kensington Market as well, and that's just a polyester shirt. And the girl that works there, I quite love her, Lynn. She said, "Do you have a leather vest?" And I said, "I don't." And she said, "Oh, you need a leather vest.
Yeah,
it's the best item to have." And you know what? She is right.
It's true.
I can wear that thing every day with everything.
Yeah,
and it's a bit like a corset.
Totally. Yeah, and you can wear it buttoned up or unbuttoned up if you depending on what you're wearing. I like the layering here that you're doing. And I love that hat. That's really cute. It's kind of it's like a sort of a bit of, it feels like a Mad Hatter, but is it?
Well, I was leaning into steampunk, but what it is,
Steampunk, sure.
dollar store hat, dollar store deck of cards, and dollar store roll of non-slip foam placematting, and some hot glue gun. And I cut the placematting up into little squares, plastered them all over the hat, framed the Joker, and put it on the front.
It's amazing.
I got a few things out that I've made.
Sure, let me see.
I love this. I want to do a whole photo shoot where I'm
it's so cute.
Where I'm just wearing the cages.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. It's like an arachnid or something.
It is. Yeah, I've gone to see plays like that where they're just wearing the cages only. And I always think it's really, really cool. Because the outerwear or the foundation or the underpinnings are obviously oftentimes more fascinating than the outer stuff, right?
There's nothing feminine about cages.
Yeah. Okay, so we still have some time, so we're going to go through some of the things we're talking about. How's everyone in the chat doing here? What is he? Asun says, "Oh wow, absolutely my thing to use things you don't expect for projects." Yeah, Asun is an amazing. She does these dolls like they look exactly like a character from a show. So her and I, we chat quite a bit. It takes a special sort of person to pull this look off, and Mark does it flawlessly. And then Asun says 100%. Well, that's what I was saying about him. He can, honestly, I think Mark could wear a burlap sack and he would find a way to make it work. You would add some sparkle or a sash or something to it. Or maybe an ermine yoke.
When I die, no matter what the cause of death is, I want you to take to the air and tell everyone my cause of death was glitter.
It was glitter. All right. So one of the things we were going to talk about, and I thought this would be really fun, our first memories of costumes, and that we realized, okay, you wrote, realize you see things that other kids didn't. So I had put in the notes, because we're Canadian, is Mr. Dressup was sort of my introduction to costumes. I would have been 4 or 5. Mr. Dressup is kind of like Canada's Mr. Rogers. So what about you, Mark? How did you what were your first sort of
Absolutely Mr. Dressup. And sort of segued into Sesame Street as well. Like I knew they were puppets. I wanted behind there. Other kids would be disappointed when they find out Miss Piggy was just like a head, like a pillow. I loved seeing what was behind it. I met Ernie Coombs at his last public appearance.
That's so cool. My sister's here, Mark. She says, "Hey, Heidi, I popped in to say hello to my talented sister and her gorgeous guest, Mark." Hi, Connie. It's my big sister.
Hi, Connie.
Connie, we're just talking about Mr. Dressup. And I actually will always say this, so my sister and my dad built me a tickle trunk because I had always wanted to have one. When I had my little business, I had a business called Ms. Dressup years ago. that I named after Mr. Dressup. My dad made me a tickle trunk, and I still have it to this day, and it's beautiful. And he let me sort of design it. Alicia's saying hello to my sister. And I still have it. So I have actually, I put my kids' costumes in it. My dad. So that's one thing I have of his that's really special to me.
Casey
So,
and Finnegan.
What's that?
Casey and Finnegan.
Casey and Finnegan. It was funny because before the kids were born, I'd said to my husband that I wanted to name the kids Casey and Finnegan, and he said, "Yeah." My sister said she met Ernie Coombs in '94. He came into my restaurant. I was working at this restaurant one time before he passed away. And it was funny because someone was saying the other day, is there one person that's passed away that you cried when they passed away? And mine was Ernie Coombs.
Yeah.
Angel says, ever since I've read Anna Green Gables with my mom as a child, I wanted to dress with her puff sleeves. Still don't have it. Aw, you should do it. You should make yourself an Anna Green Gables with puff sleeves. Mark, have you seen that show, by the way? Have you seen the newer Anna Green Gables? Anne with an E, it's called?
No.
Oh my God, you would love it. It's amazing.
All right. The celebrity that I lost my mind with the most, I was out and I saw Mrs. Garrett, Charlotte Rae.
Oh, really?
And when I saw her, I started singing, "When the moon is in the seventh house." And she's like, "You do know who I am." I'm like, "I got you. I got you." She's
That's
like,
amazing.
They normally sing Facts of Life. I said, "I know, but I'm letting you know that I was in early." That was her hit song in the 60s from the musical Hair.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Where did you see her?
In Yorkville. And I said to her, "You need anything? It's there. You need to have stuff dropped off to the dry cleaner or picked up or food delivered. You are a star here, ma'am." And she's like, "I do all my own grocery shopping at home." And I said, "Not here." She never called.
Yeah. I love the Facts of Life, and what's her name? Molly Ringwald was in the Facts of Life in one of the earlier episodes.
I thought it was the later ones. Okay, yeah.
She was in one of the earlier episodes.
Then Tootie took
when they're at the girls' school and everything.
Yeah.
And she was kind of like, she was sort of one of the nerdier girls sort of thing.
Yeah.
Blair was sort of the popular one. Charlotte Rae, says Cindy.
Yes.
Okay, so so Halloween. I know you celebrate Halloween in a big way. What you were saying are excitement, traditions. I founded the largest Halloween street party in North America. So why don't you tell us about that?
My dear friend, late Cheyenne Lee, the funniest woman alive. She was also, one of her jobs was she was Hammy Hamster's publicist. So no matter what she put on her resume, she could have saved every hungry child in the world. They'd be like, "Hammy Hamster." So that was her claim to fame. She and I were out, and this was at a time before the dollar stores even existed. And so there was nothing driving holidays. It would be St. Patrick's Day. You would have no clue. Nowadays, we're saturated with little things in the windows and ornaments and all that stuff. So if somebody went out dressed as an adult in this time, if she was a woman, they thought she was just kind of like a slut. If it was a guy, there was something wrong with him. So we went out to a costume sale, and she noticed that inside this one bustier, it said Trish in the left breast. And she's like, "This is my costume." I'm like, "But I'm going to be Dracula." And she's like, "Well, then I'm your dead showgirl you've dragged through time."
Yeah.
So that was Halloween. I remember she was handing out candy at her place, and she leaned over and she was bulging at the top of this bustier, and she said to the kid, "What are you?" And he's like, "I forget." So anyways, we went out, and it was Friday night. Halloween was on a Sunday, and we went into the bar and we're like, "Wah!" And nobody made a move. And she's okay. So the next night was Saturday night, and she said, "Tonight at midnight, stroke of midnight, is going to be Halloween. They'll all be out tonight." So we painted up. Out we went. Dracula and his dead showgirl girlfriend walked into the bar. What? Nothing.
Really? What year? Sorry, what year was this?
I want to say 92.
Okay.
93. And so then we went the next night back to her place. She's like, "They're all purists. They're all waiting till Halloween. We jumped the gun. let's go again. So by the third night, we felt like a couple of Rockettes. Like, what did you do on the way to the theater? Like, and she said, we have to go to the guys downtown because they will get this. They're on it, and they're our tribe. So we went bursting into Woody's, the big gay bar here. Ta-da! Nothing. In fact, they threw us out. So there we were, and she lit a cigarette. We heard a cheer coming from a cruddy bar across the street. And she said, maybe it's over there. So this citywide phenomenon we thought we were going to be had now shrunk to this hovel on Church Street, and we were hoping our luck was in there. As we crossed the road, a car shined its lights at us. And she said, let's die on the hood of that car like Shields and Yarnell. So we put our hands together and we started going towards the car, and we died on the hood. And then we were reaching in through the windows and we're grabbing their purses in, trying to pull. And the next car would flash and want it. The next car would flash. The other cars in the other direction. And the drag queens came out and they were watching with a great deal of interest. And then they joined us and the volume went up and the street got packed. And Toronto police showed up. And to their credit, they didn't shut it down. The guy directed traffic. And
oh, wow. That's amazing.
They let us go for 2 hours. And he said, come back next year with a permit. You can have the whole street. And so we got our friend Sean at the bar 501 to pay for the permit. Bunny was the drag queen. We put the stage outside the bar. And we had the first Halloween party, and it is now the largest Halloween party in North America, beating Mexico City.
Well, so, but why was nothing going on? I'm kind of confused about that.
In the 70s,
yeah,
Halloween was a big deal. Well, drag was illegal. If a man went as a woman, he was arrested. That's why only passable drag queens could go out in the 70s.
Sure.
And then AIDS hit, and so the kids would come in from out of town to the St. Charles bar and throw eggs at the drag queens, and they come in from Oshawa and kick over garbage cans. And Halloween was sort of a rough night. And then AIDS hit, and then suddenly the people who didn't like the gays really didn't like the gays, and the gays didn't want to put their hand up too hard. So the tribe was really fatally injured for a few years, and it just went away. And we were part of, and I think just about then dollar stores were about to happen. So the timing just all came together. And the fact that we didn't actually cross the road, but just stayed there for hours was wonderful. And to this day, it happens every year.
That's amazing.
And I'm in the same spot. I'm in the same spot every year. She died in 2009. I'll just finish with this. She named her child Spider.
Oh, wow. Well, it sounds like she was a heavy smoker.
No, we would always do that to tell the audience.
Oh, you were pretending to smoke. You weren't really smoking.
Yeah. No. That tells the audience you can laugh now.
Oh, okay. I thought like you were doing that for dramatic effect.
Yes, yeah.
It sounds like a scene from Paris is Burning, says Alicia. You know, Mark, I used to smoke. I quit smoking in my 30s. I smoked until I guess it would have been like 2000 maybe.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have even been 2000. It would have been like 97 maybe. And then I said, okay, I'm going to do this as a New Year's resolution. And I am shocked that I actually did it. Like I didn't think I would do it, but I did.
Everybody I know that quit smoking, because I don't drink, I quit drinking. Yeah. They would always say it's worse than heroin, but all the people I know say, I just decided to quit and I kind of never missed it. Like, I think when enough is enough.
Yeah, once you make the decision, I think that's how it's easy, right? You just make that decision. So that's what I did. But anyway, I'm kind of glad I don't.
Anyone who's having a hard time with addictions and mental health, I'm not negating you.
Like, no. I know you're not.
These are really big challenges.
No. Yeah, I'm just speaking now. I'm just speaking about cigarette smoking. But one of the nice advantages of it is that your clothes don't smell, because that's the one thing I really, really hated, is that my clothes always would smell.
Remember Brooke Fields saying your hair smelled like smoke?
Your hair smells. Yeah. Your hair would smell. Your clothes would smell.
Yeah.
There's actually, I've been watching, are you watching Killing Eve by any chance?
No, I'm not.
Okay. It's pretty violent, but there's this funny scene in the latest episode where she's like the, Sandra Oh, who's Canadian, is in it. And there's this one funny scene because she's sort of like isn't looking after herself and she's not showering and stuff. And so she kind of like smelling her hair and smelling her clothes and everything. And then finally she's sitting next to this nerdy technician. And usually the stereotype is that these nerdy technician types, they always kind of smell. And he goes, what is that smell? And it's her, because she hasn't like bathed probably in a few days. And her hair smells and everything. So she's just like, yeah, she's kind of a wreck, but it's really, really funny scene. All right. So, okay. The next point we were going to do is, what did costumes mean to you and to the actor? So do you mean like in terms of working in design and that type of thing, Mark?
Well, the best example I have of this is Marilyn Monroe and Laurence Olivier. They're shooting a movie called Princeton Showgirl. And so he goes into the makeup department and says, do me. And so they put a toupee on him. They put a monocle on him. They put a mustache on him. They put a uniform on him, and they turn him and put him in front of the mirror. And he goes, oh, got it. He's a German, like that. And he becomes the character because of what he sees. So they call Marilyn and tell her they're going to do the same thing with her. And she bolts for 3 days. No. And all she does is go somewhere and write and process and talk to coaches and friends and whatever she does. And then she comes back to them and says she wouldn't wear that or that or that. She'd wear this, this, and this. She would never do this, that, or this. And so she had to find the character within herself to find the costume. The other actor needed to find the costume before he could find the character.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's funny because Laurence Olivier, there's a really famous movie with him and Dustin Hoffman. Have you heard this story called Marathon Man?
Yes, I know the movie well.
So Dustin Hoffman, Laurence Olivier is a classically trained actor, grew up working in the Royal Shakespearean Company in England and so on, whereas Dustin Hoffman was a method actor. And so when his character was up all night, Dustin Hoffman himself decided to stay up all night. Did you hear that story?
No.
So Laurence Olivier is like, why did you stay up all night? Like, have you never heard of acting? Like, it was just like, no, but he had to actually be in that sort of space to be able to be the character. So it's just a different approach. So I guess it's the same with Marilyn Monroe, where they probably arrive at it at some point, but they both have different ways of arriving at it. Yeah. And it's interesting because I know, like, for instance, having just done the Northman, and in the Northman, it's one of the most historically accurate Viking era movies ever done, apparently. And one of the things that the actor said, like Alexander Skarsgård, who stars in it, he said it was just like, at one point it felt almost like they were doing a documentary, because everything was exactly as it would have been. Like, the houses were built out of the wood that they would have been made out of. Their clothing was exactly like what they would have worn. The weapons were historically reproductions of the weapons they would have used. So he said all the cast were like, we didn't really have to act much, because we were like, like living it in a way, like almost like recreationists. So it's really, really interesting, the process that that actors have. And this recent these interviews I've done recently, which it hasn't come out to air yet, I'm interviewing 4 costume designers about the process of designing. And the one thing that they all talk about, all of them, is what a collaborative effort design is. Yeah. You're working with the actor, you're working with the director, you're working with the script, and it all has to sort of kind of come together as a collaboration, and not one person is sort of the decision maker. I suppose the studio ultimately could be, but it's a collaboration that happens, and it's a huge. It's an interesting process, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm a bit of both. Like, I walk both paths. One time I was playing a hobo, and I was in a lean-to at Queen and Broadview. And so about 3 days beforehand, I called and said to the wardrobe gal, I'm gonna do this myself. Mm-hmm. You just touch me up. And she's like, oh, I haven't got time for you. Like, if you almost, I think you got this. So off you go. So I put the clothes on 3 days before, stopped bathing, stopped brushing my teeth. I'd eat and just rub the food on me. And the day of the shoot, I got up about 1:30 in the morning, went over to Queen and Broadview, built a lean-to, and sat in there drinking coffee. I wouldn't leave. And when they started to come and set up, I could hear them saying, "Oh, we need to get that homeless guy there out of the way. That's our honey spot." And so my call time came and went, and the director, producer, writer, he was all three. He called me and he says, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in the box." He's like, "Is that you?" I'm like, "Don't tell anybody." So he positioned the camera so that when I came out, the two actors, who were two young gals, fresh, green as they come, the camera would be on them. I traded out my close-up for this. And as I'm laying in the box, I thought, I have to take a piss. So I just pissed, and it rolled out the thing as they're placing the girls.
Yeah.
And when I came out, I just started delivering the lines, and their job was to look horrified and freaked out, and they did. You know, they went completely off book, but it totally worked because their lines were basically like, "Oh my God, no, like, well, who is this?" Like,
Yeah.
So I just kept going and going and going. And when we were done, he's like, "We can do it again, but I just needed you for that."
Hopefully you didn't have to take transit home.
I had a hard time getting on the Queen Street car.
Oh, you did try to take transit home?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And did they let you on eventually?
There's always someone who doesn't care, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Alicia says that's brilliant. That's amazing, Mark. All right. The next one is, we already sort of talked about Marilyn Monroe versus Laurence Olivier. What about, okay, so we were going to talk about gender bias with Marlena Dietrich and Eddie Izzard, who, by the way, is one of the most brilliant comics. I adore her. Well, actually, is he Eddie Izzard now?
I think he's like an olive. Either you like him or you don't. You know.
Sure. Yeah. So what did you want to talk about that?
Well, I think we kind of said it before. Like sometimes, like an actress is an actress is more than just a woman, and an actor is less than a man. People look at him. Who's the one from Tim Curry? From Sweet Transvestite. That could really have damaged his career. That was a huge risk for a male actor to do.
Absolutely. And it's sort of like the, and I love Tim Curry. It's sort of Rocky Horror you're talking about. Yeah. And again, I have that actually. And I did a video on the 10 most iconic men's costumes. And I have that as.
Yes, I know.
It's funny too, because I was like, I'm trying to remember what the response was. I think it was pretty favorable, but I was kind of like, I wonder what's going to happen here. Like I was kind of bracing myself a little bit to see, but I think everybody pretty much universally loves Tim Curry.
Yeah.
We did Bex and I did an episode on Clue, the movie Clue. We did like a Halloween episode on it. And of course he's in that and he's amazing. Right. So.
There's something about being part of a cult film that makes you feel like you're one of the outsiders. And I think everybody thinks they're an outsider. Like it used to be a bad thing to be an outsider. And then, John Waters came along and suddenly we all want to be outsiders. In fact, nobody really thinks there's an inside anymore.
Yeah. Someone said Tim Curry was too epic to be canceled for doing that role. I don't even know if they did canceling back then. Did they do canceling?
I think
a thing.
The music was so good. And
he did it on Broadway as well. Like he created that character, so it was his character. So
a guy could take a girl to see the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and you could get some outsider points with that girl for taking her to that movie. Because I think women don't pick what movie we go to, or it's men do. Men are like, I'm not watching that Sandra Bullock thing. It's men that pick the movies, not women. Unfortunately, that's still true. And that was the one where a guy could sort of still keep his cool.
Absolutely. It was interesting because like last year I interviewed Christopher Hargadon, and he is doing the Umbrella Academy. And I don't know if you're watching that show, but there's two actors in it. One is Elliot Page.
Yeah.
And the other one is I can't remember Robert something over. I can't remember his name, but the both of them, like, so when this is before actually like Elliot Page had made the announcement that he was now Elliot Page. So the first 2 seasons, he was dressing Elliot Page as Vanya, which was a woman. And so first season, he was dressing her fairly typically as a woman, right? And then second season, he told me that they decided that they wanted it to be a gender fluid sort of design. And he said, Christopher's probably, in his 60s. And he said, I don't think I've ever done a character like that, like a gender kind of fluid type of character. So he said it was actually really, really interesting. And then now season 3, he's Elliot Page. So now it's a completely different thing. So each season it's different. But the other part that was interesting is that when Robert came to have his fittings, he said, Christopher, I would like to dress in women's clothes. And Christopher said, okay, I have to go talk to production about it. And production said, well, we don't really want that. So what he did is he kind of had it like loose. Like he would sometimes put Robert in women's clothes. Like if it was a top that looked good, it was kind of a mashup of things, but like he would maybe wear men's clothes, like what's typically men's clothes. Sorry, I shouldn't be like making this rigid, and then add a boa to it or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is, I think, guys, help me. Is that Clark? Who is I'm gonna have to look this up. Robert Umbrella Academy. I think he's an Australian actor. Robert Sheehan. Oh, sorry, he's an Irish actor. So it was really funny. So there's this one. So what happened was in season 2, they kind of do this flashback where they're in the 70s, and it just sort of worked really well that he was able to put Robert in women's clothes in the 70s because it kind of like that time period had a lot of like crossover, you know what I mean? Like you'd have both men and women wearing bell bottoms. Like you were sort of talking about this woman who was wearing
flower power and all that.
Flower power. You had talked about this woman who was, in a Blue Jays outfit, typically wearing a boy's outfit. But for some reason, when I put my hand here, it gets blurry. Do you notice that? I don't know.
It's
That's
not
the camera. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, so I just thought that was really interesting. So I'm really kind of interested to see what happens in season 3, seeing somebody transitioning from it, not only in real life, but also in their character. Like, you know who I'm talking about, Elliot Page, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, and again, he's Canadian. All these wonderful Canadians we have. So like Sandra Oh as well.
Really
I saw Sandra Oh at the park one day, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she has family that lives near Dufferin Grove Park, near the Dufferin Mall, which if you guys don't know Dufferin Mall, it is like kind of the mall in Toronto, like where all the cool kids go. It's so funny. It's not where all the cool kids go.
It's the only one that ever had a wig shop. So that's
it has a wig shop. It's got a Toys R Us. It's got like, I don't know. It's got like, it's kind of like, it's sort of a, an inner city mall, I would say.
Yeah.
But I always loved Dufferin Mall, but there's this really great park across the street. And I would always see celebrities there like all the time. And so one day I was there and Sandra Oh was there with her family. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. Michael Sheehan was in Misfits, which is a great show. He's so good in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's in this show. All right. So let's go on. What are we talking about here? What's your secret double life item? I think we sort of touched on that, right? Mine was, I was saying it's a smoking jacket. What's your secret double life item?
I don't have a secret. That's the beauty of my life is I have no secrets. I have an asshole free life. Like I live it.
So you guys in the chat, though, if you guys in the chat have a secret double life item, let us know. I was saying it was my dad's smoking jacket, and Mark, because he kind of just lives it. Like he doesn't keep his leather chaps in the closet. He has them out of the closet. And instead so you don't have any pictures of Barbara Streisand around your apartment then. Is that what you're saying?
No. None of those. Nothing.
Is that a gay stereotype, Barbara Streisand?
No, the stereotypes are there.
They are there.
Yeah.
We do have some Toys R Us still. Yeah, I think they filed for bankruptcy, but there's still a few locations that are around. Mark, that's actually also a good place sometimes to find costumey things, by the way, because they have in the children's section. So I always used to go there and look for, like, if I was doing a show and I needed something, I would sometimes go there. Now we're going to talk about, okay, this is fun. Movies that are better because of the costumes. And you put the 10 Commandments, of
Yeah.
course. The epic movie that we don't see nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Cleopatra, one of the most expensive costume designs ever in the
Biggest
history of
turkey of
design.
them all, and wonderful.
Yes. Samson and Delilah. Do you have some other ones that come to mind?
I contrasted against a movie like Sunset Boulevard, which isn't good on costumes. It's just really well written, and it's for real nerds who really get into that vibe. These are the antithesis of that. Cleopatra doesn't even make sense, but we don't care. Just give us more Liz and more eyeliner. We're in.
Yes, exactly. Constance is saying Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
That's what my sister, it's one of her favorite movies of all time. Just,
Yeah.
It's interesting because we have this thing called the International Film Festival, like TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival. And the Cameron Bailey, who is the artistic director of the festival, it was really weird because there's this whole thing around like, should we cancel the Gone with the Wind, or Gone with the Wind, I should say. Should we cancel it because it's, it's about, it's about sort of the South.
It goes there. Yeah,
it goes there. And Cameron Bailey said that this is one of those movies that he thinks shouldn't be canceled. It should be one of those things that we could watch it, but have an understanding of it in a sort of historical like context. So he was still in favor, as a Black man himself, of keeping a movie like that. Because like I had this problem as well, because I had Gone with the Wind in one of my videos, and I had a bunch of people, make some comments about it. So, yes, thank you, Angel Over. Slavery. Yes, absolutely. Alicia says it was a product of its time. So,
and it was a pro-South movie, which of course wouldn't be done now. But the interesting thing about it historically is that it depicts a time in American history that happened, and that was what movies looked like in 1939. So just as a, it happened. If they canceled Gone with the Wind, we'd be able to go on without it.
I still like the idea that people can still watch it and study it, and then Scarlett is a buffoon from the beginning to the end of the movie. Well, she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, that's for sure. I have to go back and watch it, to be honest with you. I've someone mentioned South London Reseller mentioned Cabaret, which again is one of my sister's favorite movies.
Yeah.
Great movie. Lawrence of Arabia, another beautiful David Lean, I had his costume on my iconic men's costumes of all time.
Haven't seen it, but there you go, Star Wars.
Star Wars.
It's like painting in primary colors. You just get what everybody is and what they're doing from their costumes with that. It's brilliantly done and so understated.
Yeah. Okay, next topic. We were going to talk about drag a bit. Like we mentioned it a little bit, but in Canada, we have a place called, or Toronto, we have a place called Casey House. Do you want to tell everybody a bit about that?
It's just June Callwood's son died, and she wanted to make up an AIDS hospice in his memory. So me and a bunch of drunk guys, we got our dresses and our wigs and our scissors, and we went to work. And she gave us 20 grand. We gave her 80,000 back. That was the down payment for Casey House, and gave North America its first AIDS hospice. And I was fortunate enough to get a job there. And who did I write but Diana? Told her what I was doing, and she came to work to visit me.
It's amazing.
That's
interesting then, and now you have her dress.
And I can't decide in my own mind if she's costume or fashion or the bridge. Like there's so much fantastical things about her, so it sort of falls in with the Marilyn thing.
Have you watched the biopic about her? I kind of I'm a little bit uncomfortable watching it. Have you seen it? The one with Kristen Stewart.
Oh yeah, the first day I was there.
Oh, and thoughts?
I think she really pulled her weight as an actor, you know. But like, if I'm not in the room with somebody, I don't know what happened. I just took it at face value. I mean,
Okay.
I'm a really easy audience.
Yeah.
You know?
A couple of other movies. I don't know. Are you a Baz Luhrmann fan? Do you like
Yeah,
Strictly
yeah.
Ballroom
Yeah.
or Priscilla Queen of the Desert
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
Moulin Rouge? I just want to
I
say,
live in an elephant.
yes, you live in it. I just want to say hi to Justin. Hi, Justin. Justin popped in. He's usually on the other end of things helping me, but Mark and I just sort of set this up on our own. So Justin is just going to hang out in the chat a little bit.
Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin. Justin lives in the States. He's lovely. Okay, next. Illogical costume movies we still love. We talked a bit like Planet of the Apes. Illogical. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Any other ones that you can think of that are like that for you?
That was really it for that one with me. You know?
I'm like that with Logan's Run, which is sci-fi, and everyone's sort of dressed really in skimpy, hedonistic outfits, and then they have this crazy carousel death scene where they all wear white unitards and hockey masks to basically be executed in. And the unitards have flames on them. It's just so campy, but at the same time, I love it. But the movie itself is kind of like, it doesn't really stand the test of time, but I think just a brilliant, brilliant costume design on that one for me.
The ultimate camp scene for me is it's out of a movie, but the clip is on YouTube. Thanks, but no thanks. Oh my God, if your audience can watch that, it is high glam, high camp. I don't think they meant it to be as campy as it is. But
is that the movie's called Thanks But No Thanks?
No, the song, Thanks But No Thanks. And okay, oh my God, it's great. It's really great, but it's old Hollywood. You know, that whole old Hollywood's my thing, you know. It's in my soul. Marilyn.
Oh yeah, of course. Okay, so next. Where are we here? I'm going through the list.
We're running out of time,
No, we're doing okay. Oh yeah, we're almost out of time. Okay. Celeb. Okay. This has been very topical the last few weeks, guys. Celeb versus costume Kardashians.
Oh yeah.
Let's just touch on that a little bit.
Can you hold on 1 sec?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's something I haven't told you.
Sure.
I have a surprise guest who's going to join us for this part. Do you mind if I just bring her in?
Yeah, absolutely. Is it Kim Kardashian?
Kim, can you come in, please?
Sorry, Kim. I'll compose myself. I promise. I have to have a drink. Oh my God.
What does she do with her face? It's like frozen, right?
It's like it's duck face, isn't it?
No. I have the Diana dress and I let somebody wear it, so I can't say too much. And
sure.
I think the vitriol that Kim gets wouldn't happen to a man if he wore Luke Skywalker's costume or something. And I'm angry at Ripley's for being careless. But if you're a Marilyn fan, we eat this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Because when Diana died, what did they do? They took Marilyn's song.
Yeah.
Candle in the Wind. And, you know, I just think everyone that was around Marilyn Monroe, they were nuts. They were really crazy and they were just out for themselves. When I hear Kim being interviewed about this gown, all she talked about was that it was a huge challenge to get it and she won. And it was a huge challenge for her to lose 16 pounds. And that message really sucks. And she won. So that's my Marilyn thing. It lies at the feet of Ripley's. They're really irresponsible. You
know, it's funny.
Knockoff can be a lot of fun.
You know, what's funny though is that so there was this conservatorship. Asun knows someone came, like this. Whoever is officially in charge of museums, they came out with a statement about it. They waited a long time to come out with it, but they did. And then just after I saw that, there was this guy who was wearing, I believe it looked like it was a 17th century coat with like a coat of arms on it. And he said they had restored it and he was wearing that. And like, you were talking about the vitriol that she got. Now, this outfit wasn't attached to a person, like a celebrity. But I was like, wait a second. You're like, everyone was like, oh, you look great. And I'm thinking, you're wearing like an 18th or 17th, I think it was 17th century. You're wearing a 17th century coat for whatever this particular event is. Like, you shouldn't be wearing that. Like, and yet, like, no one said anything about that. So I totally agree with you about that.
I think
What
too,
what Asen is saying is that she I have the video here. Should I show it of her trying to squeeze into the outfit?
Yeah.
Here, Mark sent this to me. I'll show it.
Dear Lord. Should we sing hallelujah or something? Pray, pray.
Oh my god. You got it.
No.
Can push.
No.
Can push it.
Push what?
Push your ass. Push your ass. Please maybe that.
Holy sh... No.
We couldn't even get it half right.
Oh my god. Yeah, can we use that tie and tie it and keep it open?
Think so.
Oh,
Definitely.
with her.
We cannot touch this.
Well, just that tie. That tie comes with it, right?
Yes, yes.
Like, what if we did that and then put a fur over?
It's perfect idea.
What do you think, Pete?
To the side of it.
Is that her that if you're joining us right now, I'm chatting with Kim Kardashian. She's showing me her video on
The other thing that bothers me about me in this, and the lesson for me, is that there's a dress out there that's worth $5 million or 10 now, but let's say 5 for the argument.
Mhm.
The fact that I buy into that, Mark Henderson buys into that, I'm ashamed of it. You know, I cherish Marilyn as a performer and as an actor and someone who came ahead of the pack. But even in her time, she was ridiculed. She died thinking she was a joke. She didn't become this huge thing until after, when we realized that's all there is. And the fact that this item has become worth $5 million, that's insane. And I buy into that left, right, and center. And I think a lot of my outrage is based on the fact that, you know, it's a pandemic right now. The Ukraine's being blasted out of its mind. This is not important. And I spend more time on this within myself, this dumb dress and this dumb girl who, I don't blame her. She asked to wear it. They said yes. Lots of people wear it.
Yeah, no, I know. I think you're right. There is some misogyny there for sure. But Jack and I were talking about this the other day. So for instance, I said, should you be able, let's say if I had a lot of money and I, like, for instance, there was an Andy Warhol that just went up for auction and went for like a record breaking amount of money. Let's say I have a lot of money and I was able to buy that. Is there some stewardship that should be involved in that? Or should I be able to take that item if I wanted to and just like burn it?
It's also more than just money too, because when those girls ask any men anywhere to do anything, they just glaze over, and they're like the brides of Dracula. Like every guy they encounter, they destroy. And I think the misogyny is there for the reaction from us, but there's a sexism that those girls can do with the power and wealth, the things they have. I would play that card if I had it. I know I would, and I'm ashamed of it. I don't want to say I'm like her in any way, and I won't get past it until I start admitting I can be that frivolous. I've done it. It's right there.
Yeah. I was going to say, so just for everyone to know, so Kim, she only wore it for the red carpet, and then she did have a reproduction made for the dinner. The one issue that came out of it is that the fabric is made from souffle, which is, they don't even make it anymore. And it, as someone said in the comments, it was made to match Marilyn's skin tone to look like she's not wearing anything. In fact, she didn't wear any underwear under it. I read. So it's kind of like it was a made to measure outfit, and she was sewn into it as well by the, I think, who was the designer again? Was it Travis?
Jean-Louis.
Oh, Jean-Louis. Yes. Okay.
And Bob Mackie.
And Bob Mackie, who, so it's like it's pretty, like I just was saying, like, there has to be some kind of stewardship, I would think, for these items. And like one of the things, like auction houses I actually appreciate that auction houses do a really good job of taking excellent photos. Because one of the things that came out, for instance, during a Star Wars auction is when the John Mollo, the costume designer for Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, when he passed away, his kids decided to sell his book of like design. And I thought that that was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're selling that. That should really, I thought should go to the Star Wars Museum, but it went to a private collector who then I said like could just do whatever they wanted with it. Right. And I felt like that sometimes things should be really available. Shouldn't just, I don't know. So I don't know what the answer is, you guys. Like, it's just, it's pretty complicated, right?
As King of Pride, I'm going to be wearing this out there. I got a rainbow flag I'm going to wear as my fur coat around my bum. And I'm just going to go out and make fun of Kim and make fun of myself. And I hope wiser heads prevail over things like this with Marilyn's dress. But at the end of the day, when she died, they didn't know what they had, and her stardom took off. And by 1965, she was more famous than she'd ever been. You know, Princess.
Well, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying about the Andy Warhol, because it was a painting of Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So you've got, not only do you have Andy Warhol behind it, but then you have the it's got the two of them together. So it was the most expensive item, I think, art item ever sold at auction. That went to some probably bajillionaire, that he'll keep in his house.
I think things are. All I can do is act locally within my own little world, and I'm just going to have fun with this. Probably at Kim's expense, but she can handle it. I wonder what would have happened if it had been someone like Dita Von Teese who'd said, "I want to try this." I don't think that girl would have gotten the same resistance. I think negative momentum in celebrity culture is one of the cards they know how to play very well. And the rest of us don't get that we're punked. I'm sitting here dressed like Kim Kardashian right now. Like,
yeah,
I'm feeding her.
And we're talking about her.
Yeah.
She probably loves the fact that we're talking about her.
Absolutely.
She doesn't know we're talking about her, but we are.
Want the moment they become bothered.
All right, so we'll touch on just a few other ones. I want to touch on Carol Burnett because I have her on the thumbnail, and I just thought this would be really important. And also Bob Mackie, which you mentioned. So, and Bob Mackie also designed for Cher as well. So, do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, masterclass for any kid was staying up on Saturday night to watch the Carol Burnett show, and the first part was the skits, and the second part was the big dance numbers. And I was all in. I mean, I just loved it. And the fact that they were epically funny comedians as well and very talented people. Her list of guest stars was like Betty Grable and Ronnie McDowell. And like just everybody went on this show. Bob Mackie's there doing them up. Like it was and they would often spoof old Hollywood in that. So it was right up my street.
Yeah, because we were talking about like Nora Desmond is like Norma Desmond from Sunset Boulevard. So, doing a parody of that. And it was funny because when I was watching it, I was laughing my ass off. She had like, because Norma Desmond always would have a cigarette holder and then, and then a cigarette out of it, but in this one skit I watched, they had actually made this, like built up like a wire, and then they had it stick up like this, and then the cigarette is just like floating above her hand.
That's in the movie, though.
Oh, it is? In
Yes.
the movie, the cigarette's
Gloria
just floating
Swanson.
above her hand?
Gloria Swanson smokes off this cigarette holder she wears as a ring.
Oh, but in this case, it wasn't even a ring. It was just like a piece of wire, like that they wrapped around her finger. It was so funny. And then she's wearing this like, big cloak, and she's got the turban and everything. And then at some point she just tears it off, and she's wearing like a body stocking that just has all these pasties and like sequins like covering it. It was hilarious. And it's super, and they were, because it was this whole like shoot 'em up kind of thing. They were doing all that.
Yeah.
Or Max gets shot in the head, and then she gets shot, and then the other guy gets shot. Like they're just doing this whole thing with the guns, and the guns are always not timed properly. They always go off at the wrong time, that whole thing. So yeah, it was so good. You guys have to, if you go to YouTube and you put Carol Burnett show Nora Desmond, you'll see it's just like it stands up today. Mrs. Wiggins was another one I always loved. Mrs. Wiggins, do you remember that?
Yeah.
She had the big bum. She had the Kim Kardashian bum. and she always wore
From
those
the
tight
side, she
pencil
looks
skirts.
like Africa.
What's that?
From the side, she looks like Africa.
Yeah, she does. It's kind of like this, and then it's like
Yeah.
tight in there. And she's sort of like dumb as a mule. She's like Mrs. O'Wiggins, Tim Conway. And then of course, which I mentioned in my, I just touched on it in my best 10 epic costumes of all time, is her curtain dress from Gone with the Wind.
Went with the breeze.
Yes, she says, I saw it in a window and I had to have it.
Love it.
And then it's got the curtain pole still in the dress, like just iconic, right? And the tassels, they took one of the big heavy tassels from the dress and they made it into a hat. Bob Mackie did. It was just so clever. And he must have had to figure out a way to design it so it wasn't heavy, because you wouldn't be able to have a real curtain rod.
I bet they did.
You think so?
Carol Burnett was a worker. You could push her. So I bet they did. And I wonder where that dress is now. Because I think
it's in a museum. I saw a display of it's in a museum. I have to go. I think when you and I were chatting and I was looking at pictures of Carol Burnett, I saw there's a museum exhibit of it. So it would be so cool to go look at it.
It would be really nice if the Met Gala went into wearing costumes like what's her name? Bette Davis and Helena Bonham Carter always wear costumes to the Oscars from their movies. I always thought that was neat. The Met Gala should do that, because I think as a result of what's happened this past year, because everybody got wiped out, we're not going to see Beyonce and Lady Gaga and Rihanna. They're not going back because the Vampire Brides are going to take all the press. I think if they don't get back to costumes and fast, it's going to become about what can we expose, like sexualizing that carpet. And I hope they don't.
Well, I was a little bit confused. There was some misunderstanding. Like this year's theme was gilded glamour. And then I think the historians thought they meant the Gilded Age. And I'm like, no, it wasn't the Gilded Age, which is a particular time period. You know what I mean? Yeah. So some people were like, oh, no, yeah, no, that's right. No, that's right. Like, I think it's really a loose interpretation of whatever, they glean from the.
I have to say it as a member of my tribe that without Andre Leon Talley at the helm, it's just not going to be what it was.
Yeah.
They lost.
Well, I'm definitely a backseat driver when it comes to my observations of the Met. It's really kind of outside my wheelhouse. I love the theatricality of it, but in terms of, like you say, you're not a fashion person, neither am I. And so when I watch it, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know what's going on here. Like I have to ask my viewers, like, can you guys explain this to me? When I saw Katy Perry's outfit, I was like, I have no idea what's going on here. Someone please explain this to me. I do not know what's going on. And you know that I don't know a lot about pop culture.
Yeah.
But you oftentimes have to explain things to me. What's that, Mark?
Katy Perry got zero press.
It was odd. It was really super odd. Hi, Insane McLean. Hi, Karen. Getting some new people popping in. Guys, we're probably going to.
What is she talking to?
I'm
Kim Kardashian.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. This is Kim Kardashian. Sorry. I apologize. So, Mark, why don't we just finish up with a few more items? What's happening is today, Mark, what are you doing after this? You said you were going to do something. Sorry, Kim. Did you? I'm going to go to a patio because we're in the city of Toronto, and today is isn't this just one of the most gorgeous days we've had?
I felt really guilty about having you do this on such.
No, not at all. You know what? I have to tell you, before we did this, I actually was on a Zoom call. I was like, I'm on a Zoom call. This is crazy. I was on a Zoom call, but I had to. And before this, but no, I have been out. I've been out, and then I'm going to meet my friend Patrick downtown, and we're going to sit on a patio near Boytown, actually.
And you have no idea. When I found you with the first video on Dracula, I was going through the darkest time of my life, and you provided an enormously safe place for me. So the fact that I'm now in the box with you that once helped me, and to know that this will maybe be saved and other people will watch it and maybe they'll laugh at us and have a good time too. Like, it's incredible. So I thank you so much for this.
I have to tell you, you're such a bright spot for me as well, and getting to know you. And I hopefully this is going to be the first of many, I hope.
Can I give them a teaser about where we'll go next?
Sure. Do you want to do one or two more things? Alicia was laughing at me because she said, Heidi, I have this famous thing where I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to wrap up. And then it's like an hour later.
Yeah.
So let's just do one more thing. You were saying politics of costume. Let's finish up on that. It's pretty controversial. MAGA hats, maybe pussycat hats. I don't know. What do you?
A video came out about a couple years ago, and it was a bunch of 17-year-old students wearing MAGA hats, and they appeared to be threateningly staring down an Indigenous person who was chanting right nose to nose. It was confrontational all over the place, and this flew like crazy that these MAGA hat kids would do this to an Indigenous person. And then when it actually got flipped around and the family of the kids spoke up, the kids were wearing MAGA hats, but they were just giving them free, and they just wore them because they're kids. And the Indigenous person went over to them, and whatever that was, it appeared confrontational in the soundbite, but in the end, it wasn't really that at all. And that became hugely political. I think the family even sued on behalf of their son. He was, 16 or 17. He looked like the bad guy. Fashion can be incredibly political.
Well, there's a lot going on about that just in general, because even in Canada, like, what you wear, your clothing, there is actually a story that came out today or yesterday. Actually, I was really, really upset about it. It's not really fashion, costume as well, but it's fashion. And it was a school in Ottawa where it was a very, very hot day. And I mean, I've been a big proponent for a long time of just don't tell people what to wear. Like I wrote an op-ed about it about 5 years ago, like that. I just don't think we should tell people what to wear, because I say, someone is too demure, like they've got a veil on or they're wearing a long skirt. So to you, that's too demure. But then if their skirt is above like their knees, that's too sexual. So my attitude has always been, just don't tell people what to wear. Let them wear what they want. So there's the story that came out yesterday was there was a school in Ottawa, very hot day. The students were pulled out of the classrooms, and all of them were they were marking their legs like, well, no, your shorts should be here, not there. And unfortunately, this oftentimes happens, is the majority of them were women and told that their outfits were too sexy. So, because, it turns young men on to have a woman wearing, an outfit. But the whole thing I think is ridiculous, because back in the 70s, like, oh my God, like what we used to wear in the 70s, like me, even as a little girl, my skirts were all like basically just, below my underwear line.
Yeah.
And we would wear halter tops and we would wear short shorts in the 70s as kids. So this idea now that we're like, you have to have shorts that are mid-thigh. So I just really honestly think that clothes are powerful, and that it's a form of self-expression, and people should be able to, unless you have a uniform policy. I don't know, Mark, what you think about all of this.
Well, I'm a complete outsider. I'm.
That's why I like you.
Yeah, like Pride weekend, I'll go out just wearing boots and a hat, like as King of Pride, or my crown and a hat. Like I'm from the other side of the tracks. I find it very unusual that in my lifetime, I can post a photo of myself on Instagram that exposes my areola, but you would be taken off for the same thing. And I can't believe I still live in a world like that. I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, I have a friend named San, and she's on Facebook. And I know her because she's a face painter, but she does body painting as well. And we were both working in the face painting area kind of thing. I've done lots of gigs with her, and she's been put into Facebook jail, I think they call it, for having posting a picture of a woman painted, even though she's completely covered because she's nude. And actually, it's funny. I posted some pictures of I went to a conference where we had these people who were who were with body painted makeup. So they were completely nude except for the body painting. I think they might have had a little patch or something,
Yeah.
but other than that, and they were painted like Mounties, and I put it on and no one, you couldn't even tell that they were nude. You couldn't, like, it looked like they were wearing clothes. It was really interesting. So she's been taken down several times because of that, because like you say, because of a nipple, the whole thing is just sort of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes, baby tees, of course. Stephanie says, remember hot pants, remember baby tees. Like I had a halter top. Mark, do you remember them? They were like a triangle that girls used to wear.
Yeah.
And it would be a tie at the top and a tie at the bottom. And I remember one summer, I was probably 8 or 9, and the boys, one undid the top and one undid the bottom. And I was like, ah! It was like one of those, oh my God. I mean, nowadays that would be a sexual assault.
Can I take 1 minute?
Yeah,
Off
of course.
camera? Sorry,
Yeah.
be right back.
Okay, Kim will be right back, guys. And then we're going to wrap things up. So that was where we were going politics wise. But other than that, so anyway, when Mark gets back, we'll just do a little goodbye. Oh, hi. This is RGB Gaming. Hello. Saying good evening, everyone. Hope you're well. What time is it for you? It's only 4 o'clock here. Alicia says, teach boys to control themselves, not girls to hide or don't provoke SMH. Yes. I don't think the boys care. Like, honestly, like my son never says anything about any of this stuff. He's 16. He's in that cohort. I've never heard him say a word about any of this stuff. I honestly doubt that they care. I honestly think it's more the adults. Oh, you changed again. Mark is back, everybody. Hi, Mark.
How was Kim?
Oh, she was great. Yeah,
As
she was wearing a beautiful sparkly dress.
Yeah. As Joan Rivers said about Kim Kardashian, she has the prettiest face you'll ever come across.
Oh, it's Ian. Hi, Ian. Ian is here from RGB Gaming. Ian also is with a channel called The Poltergeist. So I've had him on to talk about horror movies. That's what he does. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Angel says I'm on East Coast time. So yeah, Ian is actually in Ireland. So that's why he's in a different. Please ask Mark to do a house tour. Can you do a quick house tour? Are you able to move your phone or do you want to do another episode? We'll do that.
It's on my TikTok. How's that?
Okay, it's on his TikTok. Which, by the way, I have Mark's TikTok and his Instagram and his Facebook page all in the description below if you guys want to check him out and follow him. So, Mark, let's just wrap up.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hit a patio. And then you can hopefully get out and enjoy yourself as well.
Cool.
So, Mark, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
I thank you so much for all the work you do, and you have no idea. It's just a huge honor for me to now be in this. For this, you were such a safe place for me.
Oh, I'm so glad. You know what? It's funny because like I get some like I get some angry redneck. So I don't want to say redneck because that might be insulting to rednecks. I get some like angry white supremacist comments. I get some, like I call them the Viking bro, angry male comments. I get some snarky comments from people. It's a bummer. I'm going to admit it. But I have to say some of the comments I get from my viewers are some of the most wonderful comments. I've made such great friends through this community. So Tatiana, who's my fellow queen, I met her through this. She started sending me her artwork. You sent me pictures of your costumes. I've had lots of people. I met Ace soon through this with her beautiful dolls that she does. I've met Alicia, who has come on my show with me. She's here. I met Ian through this, through the YouTube community. It's been such a wonderful community of people, and I feel really privileged to have come to know all of you, including you, Mark, of course.
I'll tell you a quick story. There was a guy who had decided he had enough. He was going to kill himself, and he sat at the side of the road, and thought the next time a big truck comes by, he was going to jump in front of it. And the truck was coming. He stood up, and when he went to jump, he chickened out. And then he saw an even bigger truck coming, and he stood up, and he was going to jump in front of that one. And just before that truck got to him, a woman across the street smiled and waved and distracted him long enough that that vehicle went right by. The bus picked her up, and he never even got to reciprocate the wave. Like, a lot of miracles happened in that man's life. The most recent one is that he got to be here with you.
Oh my God, Mark, seriously. Oh my gosh, that's such a wonderful story. Oh, honey.
So
Thank you for
let's-
sharing
let's
that.
tease them with where we're going to go on a special project. We're going to
Sure.
work up.
And actually, it's perfect because the background kind of works with it. Like the background we have here, don't you think?
I think so. So
Okay.
in this bulletproof case,
Yes.
you and I are going to.
Yeah. So Mark and I are going to come back and do a little show about this. This is just a teaser. Alicia, 30 days is saying, hey, all can't stay, but thought hey, 30 days. We're just wrapping up. I know it sounds like it sounds like something that I keep saying we're going to wrap up, but we are. And Alicia's sharing Mark's Instagram account. That's a good place to follow you, right, Mark? Mark, have you frozen? Mark, are you frozen or are you just holding that really still? I don't know if he's still there. I'm not crying. I think Mark, are you there? Hello. Hello. I don't know if Mark is still there. I think he's frozen. Maybe he's gone. Okay. So anyway, you guys, I want to thank you so much. I want to thank Mark for being my wonderful guest today. It was so fun. Like, I know it's a beautiful day out, but it was really just a treat to hang out with him. And okay. Alicia's saying frozen because I was just like, that is the most still I've ever seen anybody hold something. But anyway, you guys, so take care and we'll see you soon. Alicia, I'll talk to you soon. I'll put you in touch with Mark. Maybe you guys can do trivia together, but also we're going to be probably doing more House of the Dragon type stuff. I have a video on the Northman that's in that I just have out. And we also have last week's House of the Dragon. Actually, it was Monday's House of the Dragon sort of roundup we did. So if you guys want to check that out, and if you want to chat with me at all, I'm always on Twitter. That's a good place to get me. I am on Instagram as well, but I'm not on there enough. So there's Mark's TikTok if you want to follow him and watch his videos. Okay. So you guys take care. Thanks so much. Bye now.